you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. Light winds. It'll be warm in the afternoon, high near 69. Tonight being the cloudy skies and light winds, the low around 47. And tomorrow we'll see probably sunny skies. It'll be windy and warm, the high near 77. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
The place you call home should always be a place of comfort. Warm and cozy in winter, cool and relaxing in summer. If your home isn't delivering the comfort you expect, call Bryant. It's more than just hot and cold to them. It's about providing the best comfort solutions. And Bryant gives you a full 24-month test drive on your home comfort system. Get full details at BryantLincoln.com or call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Looking for something fun tonight? Axe throwing, local beer, and great vibes are waiting at Arbor Axe House. From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped and picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black Shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour one of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Old School with Foreman and Orman, but not today. Not today. Nick Wyman, Jake Bakoven. Pinch hitting out of the bullpen, whichever baseball reference you want to use today here on Old School on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 402-464-5685. Text line if you're watching on X, Facebook, YouTube, or Allo Channel 961. Bach, how you doing, my man?
Hey, not too bad. Good to be with you here.
I know this is I told you, pinch hitting. It's nice. A nice little day out in Nebraska. Pinch hitting out of the bullpen. Whatever baseball reference you want to use.
Yeah,
whichever one you want. Nebraska baseball 3-0. We'll get into that in our second segment in this first hour. But first off, Hour one of Old School is brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland Nebraska Windows is based out of Hallam, Nebraska, and they offer the free estimate full window replacements and vinyl triple pane windows and lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give Heartland Nebraska Windows a call today for more information at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindow.com. Buck, Nebraska basketball. We can start with them. I mean, they had a week last week. Had a week, play Purdue. It was packed down here. I was getting out of the garage the other night to go, I was leaving, coming back, and it was packed. There were so many people down there. Traffic was insane. That Nebraska, the first 3 minutes of the game is kind of what did them in, but come back and make a game of it in one of the weirdest college basketball games I've seen in a long time, where a team is down 20 points in the second half and then forces overtime. And you flash forward to Saturday, and maybe just as weird. You have Northwestern, a team who Nebraska's already played before, and it was sloppy. That's I think that's a word to describe the first half, not just only for Nebraska, but also for the Wildcats. 28-27, but then kind of flipped the switch on them and were able to just pick up a conference home win.
Yeah, it was very interesting, especially with that Northwestern game, like you're saying. I think maybe the oddest part of the Purdue game was 80% free throw shooters missing free throws down the stretch too, to add to the interest in that game. But the Northwestern game might not have been the most excitable, especially like you said. I mean, it was just kind of a sloppy game. Certain players for Nebraska stood out, but even then, others did not. Right, and Northwestern did not come off as a team that could lead number one Michigan, yes, like a week ago. They can't shoot. That's a big problem if you're a basketball team. I was shocked at how many times they pump faked and took a step inside the arc and took a long two. Now, they made some of them, but it's been known for about 10 or 15 years that's not a good shot anymore in modern day basketball, or at least a shot that the defense will generally give up. So very interesting. Nick Martinelli did not look like himself. I mean, we've seen him over the years, but especially even this year where he's leading the Big Ten in scoring. And so credit Nebraska for that. And so as much as we might make fun of some of the sloppiness, a lot of that is good defense. And Nebraska certainly did apply that to Northwestern, specifically there in the second half. You had guys rise up, certainly Hoiberg and Sanford played well. Jacobson, you throw him in there as well. But it's one of those many games that you have in a long season where you just kind of you step back and you wonder, would this be good enough against one of the top teams in the Big Ten? And maybe not. But again, that's basketball. It's going to happen. There's going to be nights where you don't have your best stuff. Can you fight through it? Can you get to a victory? And much the less, here we are in February complaining about a 19-point victory against somebody in the Big Ten. That's just it's a little bit odd. And I don't want to say complaining. Like, I think by the end of it, I think everybody was happy, at least with the second half effort and the distance that Nebraska put between them and Northwestern. But that's just part of basketball. Even if you are 20 points better than a team, it might not show it, throughout the game or at the beginning of the game. And so you have to fight to get to that destination.
I felt like I was seeing deja vu throughout the whole week. So coming into the game, Northwestern on a 4-game skid. Back when they played them earlier this year, Northwestern entered on a 4-game skid. So Nebraska played them 77-58 earlier this year up in Illinois. 77-58, 19-point win. On Saturday, what happened? 19-point win. It's deja vu. It's very, I mean, neither one of those games were very similar, but it was just a very weird game. And Northwestern, coming in, they weren't playing bad basketball, I would say. I mean, the Illinois game at the time when they played Illinois was the hottest team in college basketball and got routed by them, 84-44. Then they played Iowa, lost 76-70 to the Hawkeyes. We're ahead against Michigan in a very, another weird game that happened last week in the NCAA where Illinois had a double-digit lead on the Wolverines at half with Nick Martinelli not really doing anything. And it was, okay, what is Northwestern doing here? And then Michigan kind of did what Nebraska did on Saturday, took advantage, was able to just scratch and claw for a conference win. You saw that on Saturday with Nebraska, 68-49. I mean, we're kind of nitpicking, but Nebraska only allowing 49 points. I mean, that's not bad. It wasn't like the best, the defense was what it was. I think the turnovers was basically the biggest red flag, I would say. It was very sloppy, but that you can go both ways. Northwestern was just as complacent, I would say, on offense. But Nebraska, if you would have told me that Jamarcus Lawrence was going to score 2 points and Rink Mass was going to score 3 points in a 19-point win, I think Nebraska would take that any day of the week.
Yeah, they will. And again, and Price Sanford specifically likes this matchup. I think he scored 22 in the first game against Northwestern, 29 here. So, again, it's not always about getting the best result from your leading scorer, your leading player, game in, game out. Sanford now, of course, is their leading scorer. But, I think there does become a little bit of concern when you come out of this game is kind of what Rink Mass are you going to get? He had some struggles, of course, coming back, obviously from illness. Which is fair, and then looked good in Nebraska's last outing against Rutgers. But then I think in this game, 6 turnovers. They specifically took him and Jamarcus Lawrence out, and that's when they separated from Northwestern, and so they kept that lineup out there. And again, it can happen, but it's just interesting. Where Nebraska can be with Rink Mass playing at his best, and again, he's. Not like he was awful. He had some really good passes. But again, you can't have 6 turnovers there. And ended up with 3 points. So it is going to be very interesting to see what version of Rink you're getting, because you're basically now kind of settling in on the same version and a great version of Price Sanford. Sam Hoiberg has been very consistently stuffing the stat sheet. And, Terrell asked me in the last show, who's the MVP of the team this year? And I think at one point, Rink Mass would have been the easy answer. And now I think at this point in the season, I think you get closer to the Price Sanfords or the Sam Hoibergs of the world. So it is interesting. It's not a bad thing. It's good to have multiple opportunities, multiple players in that position. And throughout the season, there should, you'll have different guys step up there, here and there. Nebraska still feels like they're in a good position. Joe Lunardi somehow has them as a 4 seed, but they're ranked 9th here by the coaches poll in the AP poll. And as we know, the toughest part of their Big Ten schedule is behind them. Now you got to prepare for this game at Iowa, but altogether, this is the season of dreams for Nebraska. Not every half is going to be great. I think it's been interesting because it's not always the first half or the second half. There's been certainly times this year where Nebraska, just looks like complete opposites from one half to the next, and that's fine. That happens again. This happened. The same thing happened to Michigan against Northwestern. Same thing happened to Michigan against UCLA. Michigan was very close to UCLA over the weekend, and then they broke out. But especially considering where Nebraska played Michigan, who is now number 1. Obviously playing them without Mass and Frager. They don't feel like they're all that far from Michigan, right? And so that being the number 1 team, you look at Arizona now kind of falling apart. I don't want to say falling apart, but dropping their undefeated season, and now two losses, they fall to number 4 in the rankings. It just feels like I guess I say all that, even though Nebraska lost 3 of 4 against very good competition, they feel like, and it feels great to say this, national title contenders. They don't seem like the top 8 teams have like some gigantic gap over them. Nebraska's right there.
Yeah, and you look at the top, the AP poll came out today. You have Michigan at number 1. You have Houston at 2, Duke at 3, Arizona at 4. This Saturday, college basketball, have you seen the schedule? So you're going to get Houston and Arizona playing one another, and then Duke is going to be playing Michigan in a neutral site in Washington, D.C.
Do you know why they're playing those non-country?
I can't remember the name of the tournament. I'll look it up here.
Is it for NIL or something?
I mean, Ohio State played Virginia this past weekend, it's a little weird. But yeah, you're having those. That's the top 4 right now in the country. I mean, duking it out. Then right behind them, that's probably right now the tournament right now that'd be your 1 seeds more than likely. But then on the outside looking in, you have number 5 UConn, who has shown that they're beatable this year a couple times. St. John's a couple weeks ago back in Madison Square Garden, Rick Pitino and them beat them. Iowa State, another weird team who lost a game to TCU and then comes back and wins a game over the weekend. Purdue, now number 7. Purdue, I mean, Braden Smith's kind of been the guy for them for the time being. And so far this year, for the most part, Kansas, who was a team who was kind of treading water in the early months of December, were almost outside the top 25. And now look at them now. They're number 8. And they're a team that it all rides on Darren Peterson's health or whatnot, what's going on with him. And then you have Nebraska at number 9, and then right behind them, outside the top in the top 10, wrapping it out is number 10, Illinois, who was the hottest team in the country 2 weeks ago, cooled off with a couple losses, and there they are. And then Gonzaga is the team just on the outside looking at the top 10. I mean, any of those teams, like you said, Joe Laurinardi has them as a 4 seed. With the resume they have, you have quality wins over Oklahoma. Oklahoma is kind of something else right now.
I said their non-con wins are part of the reason, I think, is their non-con wins are starting to fall apart.
Yeah, look at the time, but you got to look at the time of that win. Yeah. It's kind of like college football debates, like college football playoff debates. We beat them then, but it's like, but look at them now. I don't know how you can compare a team that was played in November compared to a team that was played in March.
But specifically Oklahoma, Creighton, and Kansas State, who fired their coach Jerome Tang.
But at the time, those were like,
those are big wins.
You beat Porter Moser's team in Oklahoma. You beat Creighton, a team that you've been able to beat recently, but in most part, Creighton's kind of been mostly talked about in March Madness from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
And they beat Kansas State in a game that was another wild game where Nebraska somehow kept their undefeated season going, and heroics for Sam Hoiberg and company to win that one. And then Wisconsin at the time. Wisconsin beat them. We can throw them in there. Beat Wisconsin by 30. Wisconsin now looks like a team that's pretty solid.
Just joined the top 25. Yeah.
It's weird how that works out. And then the Illinois one, obviously, at Illinois when Jamarcus Lawrence did the shot. But it's like, I just don't know how you can debate, they're not that good anymore. It's like, well, when they played them, K-State wasn't on the Jerome Tang firing watch at the time. I mean, maybe there were rumblings about it, but I wouldn't say that K-State team that is playing in the month of February was much different from that team in November. I don't know how you can dock a team for that. You just play who's on your schedule.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Ultimately, I think, you kind of get to the final record and a team kind of shows who they are. But, I agree. Maybe Nebraska has sent Kansas State on that direction. Who knows if Kansas State would have won that game, how they would have felt. But, the biggest thing at this point is I don't care who you've played. You've got wins over a few top 10 teams. Your only losses are over the top 10 teams. So that's the conversation you're in. And, let's not act like he threw us all the way down to like a 7 or 8 seed.
Yes.
A 4 seed would still be pretty respectable. It just doesn't seem where Nebraska is viewed elsewhere, right? Specifically in the AP poll and the coaches poll. And again, to your point, as far as the schedule goes, yes, some of these teams are starting to falter, but Wisconsin's looking better. New Mexico's still doing well. So if you even go outside of those top 10 wins, there's been a few of them that are doing pretty well. And then the biggest thing is you're 22-3. I don't care who you're playing at this point in the year. If you've played 25 games against D1 competition and 14 of those against Big Ten competition, which has very well represented both in the top 10 and top 25, you're a pretty darn good team. Where that lands as far as seeding, again, you have to remember top 4 seed and with 4 brackets. That's top 16. So yeah, that's still, he's not like it's not like he's throwing you way under
like
the
a
bus.
6 seed or a 7 seed.
Yeah, but still a little bit odd. I don't think Joe Lunardi's going to be the favorite bracketologist from Husker fans as they see that today, because I think they deserve more.
Here's the thing. The schedule, people were saying, the schedule gets lighter, I think is a term, but you deep dive into the rest of the schedule through, middle of February here to the second week of March at Iowa. Obviously, Nebraska lost a game last year there, a heartbreaker. Alleged travel happened and everything like that and whatnot. Then you got Penn State and Maryland. Okay, those are teams who are bottom feeders in the Big Ten right now, but they're like a Northwestern. You have to come to play because you don't know, catch lightning in a bottle. It's college basketball. You've seen it everywhere. We see top dogs get picked off by teams who are just treading water and just trying to gather some momentum into their conference tournament. And then you have the West Coast trip at USC and at UCLA, who are not bad teams. UCLA is playing outside that Michigan game, they're playing some solid basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have USC, who's played some teams close as well. And then after all that, you full circle moment, then you play Iowa to cap off regular season play on the 8th of March. And then the new season starts. So there's plenty of, I'm not saying, there's no more opportunity for Nebraska to build their resume. I think there's plenty of opportunity because look where they're sitting with these rest of the games. You have Iowa twice. You got USC, UCLA, and then the Big Ten tournament, which should be I mean, you should be matching up with some solid teams unless there's chaos, which we've seen in some conference tournaments before. I mentioned NC State last week. NC State that year with DJ Burns and company kind of came in like, oh, their coach is on the hot seat. Then they won the ACC tournament, ended up making a huge tournament run. There's plenty of opportunity left to continue to grow. And as you mentioned, they only have 3 losses. 22-3 stands out regardless. I mean, even if you like Miami, Ohio right now, Miami, Ohio's undefeated. Are they playing the toughest schedule in the world? No, but they're winning games. They're winning games, and they're undefeated, and then rightfully so. For Nebraska, your losses are to Michigan. And for context, didn't have 2 guys who are 2 of their top 5 scorers. You lose to Illinois, who, once again, were, at the time, the hottest team in the sport. And then Purdue, who just came out and were on fire for the first 3 minutes and used that momentum to kind of get to the win. But then again, that game was weird. Nebraska somehow erases that deficit. Purdue misses a ton of free throws down the stretch. And then that game goes to overtime. But you still lose. But, hey, I know there's no moral victories in sports, people will say, but I think if there's a moral victory, that's probably it.
Well, it's close enough to it, right? You get a chance to win with the free throw there at the end from Rink Mass, and then in the overtime, obviously, the slippage, the court, which there was a little bit of sliding again.
Spillgate?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, against Northwestern, there's a little bit of that, so they gotta figure that out. I know the broadcast said they had some extra brooms on hand, so that could help out a little bit. But with the Nebraska's just got to take care of business. There probably isn't a game left that's going to turn your head or make you think, okay, these guys got to definitely get them moved up the rankings until the Big Ten tournament, whatever happens there. But obviously what can turn heads is a loss, to one of these teams that's not ranked. And then you have to kind of put that in a category of its own that hasn't been there for Nebraska basketball at this time in this season, is they are susceptible to losing to somebody outside the top 15, which that happens too, for the most part, usually, and to any college basketball team. And that's just how special this run has been for Nebraska. By the way, are we ready for the 10 p.m. tip against UCLA out there on the West Coast?
I'm telling you, I'm not. I'm not. So if you look, so tip times, I'm not a fan of the 8 o'clock tips just because I get it. Nebraska is the West Coast of the Big Ten, just because before Washington, Oregon, UCLA, and USC joined the conference, Nebraska always got the 8 o'clock tips. I mean, a lot of those games, they're playing like when Michigan came to town, Mo Wagner and Jordan Poole and those guys, they played a lot of those games at 8 o'clock and et cetera. 10 o'clock tip, that'll be, post-game coverage here around midnight then.
Yeah, that's right.
Get your, get some coffee and get some brewing and talk some hoops, right?
I was like that, was that Fresno State? That'd be probably like 2014 or something.
Nebraska football played Fresno at Fresno because they played Derek Carr the prior year.
Yeah.
And then they went to Fresno, and then that game was like
it's like 9:30, I think.
I think it was one of those late games that are on, which is like Nebraska's only been in a handful. I mean, UCLA game this year, I think it was an 8 o'clock start, so it was a close to that, but nothing too, late night, almost ending at midnight, past midnight kind of football games. There's plenty of those, but yeah, tomorrow tip off at 8 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. I mean, it's a rivalry game. I would throw the records out is kind of the cliche, but Iowa, look at their schedule. Look at Iowa since they lost to Purdue a couple weeks ago at Purdue, 79-72. Since then, they rattled off wins against Indiana, Rutgers, USC, Oregon, Washington, Northwestern. Games they probably should have won. I mean, USC one was a 1-point game.
There's a couple good decent opponents in there.
Indiana's playing some decent basketball. Washington beat them by 10. Nebraska did the same. That was they made a little West Coast trip to play that game and beat Oregon over there as well. Since then, they lost to Maryland 77-70. Not a great loss because Maryland is struggling. And then they just got beat 78-57 against Purdue, the same Purdue team that was just at Pinnacle Bank Arena. So I think it should be exciting. When those two teams play, they've had some pretty good games in the past. Nebraska spoiled some games at PBA against them in the past as well. But it's a much different Iowa team than you're used to. They're a team that's going to want to control the ball, slow it down. I think that's what helps Nebraska, because Nebraska is a team that doesn't push the pace as much compared to a lot of teams in the Big Ten. But you have a team like Iowa who's really going to want to slow the pace down. So that's where I go back to the turnovers. You don't want to turn the ball over because Iowa is a team who's going to make sure the game is a slower pace and make sure that you're not going to get as many possessions as you want. And if you're turning the ball over, 15 plus times a game, as Nebraska's kind of done in some of these losses, the Hawkeyes will make you pay. And it's one of those games where, you just went through the big dogs of the schedule. You went through the Purdues, you went through the Michigans and your Illinois. Nebraska can't just let off the gas pedal because, we're done with that little meat of our schedule. We'll just take it coast to the finish line. I don't think they're going to have that mindset, but you just cannot hope that happens.
Well, and I think that's more likely against Penn State or Maryland. Those are kind of the lower teams on the in the Big Ten left on the schedule. And again, I mean, you can't take those wins for granted. You got to go out there and earn them. But both of those being at Pinnacle Bank Arena, I feel really good about Nebraska in those games. But with Iowa, again, it is, I highly doubt they're going to do that just because of the Price Sanford return, right? And he has been on fire. I mean, 29 points this past game. He's going to set the single season record for 3-pointers at Nebraska, besting Kerry Cohorn from all those years ago. And so, I think with the Sanford element of it, the rivalry, all that, I don't think that's going to happen against Iowa. But to your point, it's a bit of a different, they've got a lot of similar numbers to Nebraska. They don't even average 30 rebounds a game, though. Nebraska might be able to win the rebounding battle, which doesn't happen too often, all that often, I suppose. But they might be able to do that against Iowa. But, some of their other numbers are very similar to Nebraska as far as, kind of 3-point percentages and turnovers, especially. Both teams average around 9 turnovers a game. That was a big part of the problem against Northwestern. Hopefully they can kind of fix that out as they go on the road here. But I don't expect, Iowa is 0-5 against top 25 teams, but they've pushed them. And I don't expect anything less from Iowa in this game. I think, down the line, McCollum's going to have that program where he wants it a little bit more. But under Fran McCaffrey, they didn't play a whole lot of defense. They'll play some defense. Yeah. They'll slow down the clock, like you said here. So it'll be a little bit different than what we're used to with Iowa. I was talking to an Iowa fan the other day. It's always interesting because they had the Murray brothers, obviously. Yep. They had, National Player of the Year in Luka Garza. Yep. And the frustration was that they didn't win enough with them. And, I'm just kind of think, yeah, but he got him to town. He got him to, got it to work. Obviously had, Price Sanford's brother or Peyton Sanford out there. They just had so many. Not a whole lot of people like Fran McCaffrey. I enjoyed his brand of basketball.
I liked when he stared down the ref that one time they used a timeout and he just kind of stood there and stared at the ref. He was a character. That's what college coaches are always like that. One more thing before you get a break. You mentioned the rebounding. Nobody really on the postgame, nobody really mentioned it. Everybody the last couple games has been rebound. Nebraska's got to rebound better. Nebraska out-rebounded Northwestern 40-24. I think that's what everybody wanted to see. And on the postgame, I was shocked that Austin was shocked as well that we didn't see any comments being like, wow, way to step up the rebounding. Nobody really mentioned it. And the 40-24 in that category, I mean, that is a complete different compared to what happened with Oscar Clough and Purdue literally 4 days before that.
Yeah, and shout out to Nebraska for getting that done. And they do average 35.6 rebounds now on the year, so that's better than their average as well. Watching Northwestern, it shocks me that they were leading Michigan. That team can't shoot. And Martinelli is not doing well. And again, credit to the defense for Nebraska. They held him down. That's tough to do. But when he's not doing well, they just didn't have a whole lot of options. So I think that might be part of it, is people were less impressed with Northwestern in general. They have 3 field goals in the final 13 minutes of regulation.
It was ugly. We've seen a lot of those games in PBA in the past, though. There's been a lot of ugly scoring games and whatnot. So we're going to go to our first break in hour 1. When we come back, we'll talk about some Husker Baseball, Husker Softball. They are in full swing. It feels like there should be a game down at Haymarket Park tonight because it's, 60-something degrees tomorrow. I think it's supposed to be a record high. So Nick Wyman, Jake Bakoven, not Austin Norman and Jay Foreman, pinch hitting here on Old School. We'll be right back here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
The place you call home should always be a place of comfort. Warm and cozy in winter, cool and relaxing in summer. If your home isn't delivering the comfort you expect, call Bryant. It's more than just hot and cold to them. It's about providing the best comfort solutions. And Bryant gives you a full 24-month test drive on your home comfort system. Get full details at BryantLincoln.com or call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
It's Flavor Flav, and I'm bringing the hype to the U.S. bobsled and skeleton team with Raisin Cane's, chicken fingers, and cane sauce with a bobsled plush puppy.
One love. When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street, online at doubleeagle.golf.
This is Jordy Ball for Anderson Ford. For years, Anderson has relied on an exceptional customer experience. But just this once, they're going to rely on a really great pitch.
Right now, lease a 2025 Ford F-150 for $199 per month.
Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1007055. Previous service loaner. $199 per month. Lease for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 6,800 to assignee. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from the Anderson Auto Group by 3/31/26. See dealer for details.
Hey, Nebraska, this is your moment. Love Nebraska is already making noise on the court, but they're still missing one thing, a nickname. That's where you come in. Love Nebraska is giving fans the chance to submit the team's official nickname. Fans will then vote on the finalists later this season. Head to lovneb.com/nameyourteam to submit your nickname and get in the game. Submissions end on February 22nd. Name your team, shape the legacy.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. Get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. When we're looking out for a homeowner, we're always keeping their budget in mind. Let's put numbers together and let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
And we're back, 90.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Nick Wyman, Jake Bakoven. Here, Austin Orman down in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's been nice, he said there, and then Jay Foreman's out and about doing his thing. But Austin, I talked to him. I said he's chilling in Arizona. He didn't like that I said he was chilling down there.
Oh, why is that?
Oh, he's like I'm working. I'm like you're chilling like a villain and chilling down there. No, but he's had some pretty
working baseball. We know that's still chilling.
It is chilling. It seems like he's having a good time, and Nebraska fans are having a good time so far down there in Arizona. Nebraska, they've shown out. I've seen some clips that we've posted that Austin's gotten some really good pictures, some good insight covering the Cornhuskers opening weekend. Nebraska baseball 3-0 for the first time since 2005. You know what else happened in 2005, Bach?
Baseball related?
Yeah,
I do.
They went to the College World Series.
Yeah.
I know it's only 3 games. There's 40 plus, 50 plus more games to go, but you'd like to start off on the right foot. I think with Nebraska baseball, we've seen over the years where Nebraska baseball's had a kind of a sleepy start, I would say. Usually where, they'll win. Like a couple years ago, they beat Vanderbilt up in Minnesota.
Right.
Win that's a big win. You beat a team like an SEC team in baseball, you're going to catch some people's den. But there's some years they'll play a mid-major, and those mid-majors come in because they know, hey, we can build our resumes early, just like college basketball or any other sport like that. Hey, we pick up a win over a Power 4, Power 5 school. That'll help us down the line. Nebraska so far hasn't had that sleepy start. 3-0 wins over UConn, they've conference regular season champion the last 3 years in the Big East. They won 34 plus games last 3 years. Head coach has been there for almost 20 years. So a decorated baseball team. So that's a good win.
They run ruled them, right?
12-2.
Yeah.
That game was interesting because you look at UConn, they're a team, like I said, veteran coach, really good baseball school. For the Big East Conference. The Big East Conference isn't the most deep conference in baseball, but UConn's been kind of the cream of the crop regular season-wise. They haven't won the Big East tournament in a while, but they're able to put together good regular seasons. UConn scores a run early, okay, but Nebraska comes back right away with multiple runs. You got the Jet Bucks of the world. You have Jeter Worley, I think, is the coolest story. Lincoln East kid, graduated from there. He's one of the first guys to start this century at catcher as a true freshman. True freshman catching, I think, is kind of unprecedented for a lot. Him to step in there. Cole Kitchens, Southern Indiana's transfer. He's been kind of the offense they're looking for. And so far, not only on Friday, hit a one down the line that drove in a couple runs. It's just a complimentary baseball team. And Nebraska's had times where, they have a couple of guys who can hit. So far, they've had a group of guys who can hit. I think that helps, especially when you're playing quality teams like UConn. And Northeastern is no slouch either. Northeastern, 42-11 last year, or 49-11 last year. Only 11 losses in a baseball season, regardless of conference. Really tough to do.
Yeah.
It's not like basketball or football where you're playing one game and it's like, oh, move on to the next one. You play, 3-4 games a weekend and you're going to drop one. It's just not getting too high or not getting too low. And Nebraska's been able to get off to a good start. I mean, 3-0 is 3-0. That's great. And then you beat Grand Canyon, and now today playing Stanford. This game right now is going on right now. You can watch it on MLB.com. But you can, while you're watching, you can listen to Old School with me and Jake here as well, obviously. 9-4, Stanford currently has the lead. This is kind of the Nebraska team that we've seen in these kind of games where they give 6 runs in the first inning. hard to dig yourself out, high school, college, or professional. Hard to do. 9-4 now. Nebraska comes back with 4 in the bottom of the third. Interesting team because, like you said, sleepy starts have happened. I think what I most want to see out of this Nebraska team this year for baseball is win the midweek games. There's been times where they played a team like Omaha or Creighton and they drop that game and then they'll come back and beat a Michigan or something like that. And put yourself in a good position, I think, come tournament time, because there's been times where, regular season's kind of and then they win the Big Ten.
I
think the expectation is to win the Big Ten, but be in a better position come tournament time in Omaha.
Yeah, and I think I think the media had them like 4th in the league this year. So, there's going to be some good competition. By the way, all the teams in front of them, those are those West Coast teams, UCLA and Oregon and USC. Yep. So, of the I can't even say original Big Ten. There's so much conference alignment, but before the most recent additions to the Big Ten, the West Coast teams, which, as we know, there's history there of teams like in the West Coast and the southeastern portion of the country, in Texas, Arizona, where we go play these tournaments here. It's year-round baseball. You don't have to fight through the winter that Nebraska is doing, and maybe that's the reason for the 3-0 start is a light winter. So if you're upset about that or worried about what it's going to do for the crops or what, I don't know what people get upset about that for, but maybe that's the key to Nebraska baseball starting off. Of course, slightly joking, but could help out. But we'll see. They, like you said, a long way to go, and obviously so far not great against Stanford. Stanford's a good team. Has been in the College World Series the last couple of years, a couple times. So But like you said, in any case, especially a pitcher, that's why it's so hard to win in baseball consistently. One off day from a pitcher, can hurt you. And like you said, they gave up 6 runs in the first inning there. So you don't expect them to go undefeated. This might be their first loss in the season. We'll see what they can do. But either way, great start for Husker baseball. And I think going into this weekend, this tournament, if you would have said they come out 3-1, I think a lot of Husker fans would say absolutely.
Oh, definitely. And feeding off that, 1508 says, can Nebraska's ace stay healthy? Seems like the last couple of seasons, the ace gets hurt and is done for the rest of and then they didn't finish. I'm assuming the rest of the year is what they meant to say, but yes. Ty Horn, he pitched the opening day starter on Friday against UConn, 4 2/3, 3 hits. Not a bad outing. They're not going to go to complete game. First game, guys are still getting loose, getting, logging pitches through 99 pitches. It was pretty efficient for the most part. He danced around out of trouble in that first inning, ends up with an ERA of 1.93 so far. He is going to be like you mentioned, he is going to be the Friday night ace going forward. Last year's stats did not jump off you look at the stats, 4-4, almost a 5 ERA with a 4.94 ERA, started 17 of his 18 games, gave 86 hits, 85 2/3 innings logged. The stats won't jump off the page looking at that, but he finished strong last year. He won, Big Ten tournament. He was untouchable. And, he kind of proved like, hey, I can step up. So far he's done that. Look at his first year, 5.91 ERA, only 4 games started in 13 appearances. That goes down to a 5, near, high 4. And now he's off on the right foot with a 2. He's going to have to be leaned on his pitching. Obviously today, Colin Novacek, Elkhorn North grad, got kind of banged up. That's kind of a welcome to the show kind of moment, but that's baseball. Every baseball game is not going to be the same. There's games where it's going to be 1-0. There's games where it's going to be a high scoring game like we're seeing now, 13 runs in less than 3.5 innings. It's a sport where you have to be ready for the situation no matter what. I think Nebraska's lineup will play to their favor because they've shown so far, like, hey, we can hit with the best of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what's coming above for them. Again, I think for you, to your point earlier, you just want more consistency. You don't have to get to the Big Ten tournament and think we got to win this to extend the season. And so that could be a big ask, obviously, in the Big Ten. But with some of those teams that we mentioned that were picked ahead of Nebraska, maybe the Big Ten can pick itself up a little bit with its perception and rankings and all of that. And so maybe, throughout that, Nebraska can get better. But like you said, those midweek games certainly hurt Nebraska last year. We'll see if that becomes a problem this year. Hopefully not. And we'll see, but it's off to a good start. And by no means giving up on this team against Stanford. Like you said, if there's already been that many runs so far in the first few innings, still a possibility Nebraska can come back in this one and still remain undefeated.
Yeah, so far, went down 6-0, 9-0 at one point, gave up 3 runs in the top of third. But that bottom of the third inning, Cole Kitchens, as mentioned, doubled the right center, drives in Joshua Overbeck, Dylan Carey, 2 runs there. And then Will Jeske, Lincoln Southeast alum, hit a home run that scores Kitchens. That's how they get to 4. So you're able to kind of play it away. And the inning, as I mentioned, the inning just ended 9-4 after 4. The Cardinal lead in a high-scoring game that has a total of, quick math here. Math is not my strong suit here for hits. Adding it up, I don't have the box score for me. I have the thing here. They have a total of, 20 hits? 20 hits combined.
That's a lot.
It's a hitter's park. It's a hitter's park. The spring training games will be played there in a bit. Before we get a break, we have a couple minutes here. Nebraska softball, 6-4 record overall, but you look at the quality opponents and what they've played. I'll read the schedule for, those who don't have them in front of them or don't, have it caught up with the Huskers so far. I mean, there's a lot going on. We have met basketball.
Oh, yeah.
I love this time of year where basketball, baseball, softball all overlaps. There's so much going on around the world of sports. So UTSA Invitational a week ago beat Washington, who was ranked at the time, and split with Texas. Texas was number 1. They lose 15-10. Come back the next day, beat Texas 8-5. You knock off number 1. And then you beat UTSA and then drop your final game to Washington. Like I said, Washington was a ranked team, so not a bad loss. Shriners Children's Invitational down in Clearwater, Florida this past week. Thursday, beat LSU, shut them out. LSU was ranked 12, beat them 6-0. Shut down game, lose to Georgia by 1, nearly came back in that one, lose to Tennessee. Tennessee's got one of the best pitchers. She throws like a 75-mile-per-hour pitch. That's like equivalent to like a 100-mile-per-hour fastball because, the distance from the circle and the mound are a little different. Beat Central Florida. That was the non-ranked team they played, but they're a solid team. Big 12. They're usually in a regional. The big one was yesterday. Got moved up due to weather in the Florida area, the Clearwater, Florida area. Played number 1 Texas Tech, who were the runners-up in the College World Series. Beat them 3-2. We're 2 weeks into the season for college softball. Nebraska already has wins over the likes of Texas, Washington, and Texas Tech. I mean, 6-4 and you're still in the top 10. I think that's a quality start to the year. And there's been multiple. It's not just Jordy Fromm carrying, the offense. There's a lot of other names. You have Jessie Farrell for the UNLV transfer. She's been able to kind of be the spark plug for the offense. You have Alexis Jensen just down the road, played at Gretna. Won a state title there, a couple of state titles pitching for them. They had a year where they barely lost in any games, and she's been able to kind of take a little bit of load off Jordy's shoulders in the circle. If you have her playing like that as a freshman, you've found yourself a star.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Even, might be the 2 wins over number 1 teams. The first time they've done that in program history, just at the beginning of the year. So that might be the biggest thing. But as far as the future, we all know Fromm is the absolute superstar. But to add that piece on the mound as a freshman, I mean, that's going to be huge for Nebraska moving forward. And, it's kind of like, the record is interesting too, because, it's kind of like the wrestling team. The wrestling, nobody else is in the top 10 with their record or as highly ranked as they are. And Nebraska softball is going to be the same way. It's just really battle tested. And, you're not going to win every one for all the reasons that we've talked about, but to show that you can beat anybody and compete with anybody is a huge deal for Nebraska this early. And we knew this was not a team that was going to go undefeated with that schedule. It's just going to be a bit of a gauntlet. They front-loaded it that way. And again, part of that because the Big Ten might not have as many marquee games down the line once you get into conference play. So they're picking up a lot of those big wins and really just confirmed what we all thought coming in, which is Nebraska softball. Definitely a top 10 team. Definitely a team you're not going to see if you're, anybody else against Nebraska once tournament time rolls around and can beat anybody. Now, Tennessee's starting to bother me. So I just might not want to see the Vols come later. But, of course, they beat Tennessee at the beginning of last year, and that's what kind of got things rolling. Of course, by the end of the year, Tennessee outlasted them to get to the College World Series and then again beat them at the beginning of this year. So I just don't like the Vols too much. But specifically, Texas Tech, their pitcher on the mound, the 2-time $1 million pitcher, 2-time national pitcher of the year. That's who Nebraska had to go against to win against Texas Tech and Nisha Kennedy. So that's it. I mean, there's no bigger player in softball than that, and she does not often get. I wouldn't say as far as rock, but against her, 3 runs can be rocked.
So with her, it was the first time she's given up back-to-back extra base hits in her career.
That's amazing.
In that inning.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented, you would say, in that sense of everything. So 6-4 doesn't jump off the page as a great record, but look at the quality of teams you played. You'll take it. So we'll be right back here. When we come back, we'll talk about conference realignment. I feel like this conversation happens every other month. And we're right back to square one with some FCS to FBS level transfers too. With the conference realignment transfers, same thing.
It's all these words mixed together.
Transferred, signing, whatever you want to call it. The buzzwords you want to use for college sports. It's something else. So we'll be right back here. Old School, Nick Wyman, Jake Bachman, 90.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street, online at doubleeagle.golf. Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney location. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town. A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
The place you call home should always be a place of comfort. Warm and cozy in winter, cool and relaxing in summer. If your home isn't delivering the comfort you expect, call Bryant. It's more than just hot and cold to them. It's about providing the best comfort solutions. And Bryant gives you a full 24-month test drive on your home comfort system. Get full details at BryantLincoln.com or call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Hey guys, this is former UFC fighter and mixed martial artist Anthony Lionheart Smith. The Upside Bar and Lounge in South Lincoln is the go-to spot for every UFC event, prelims, and main card. There's never a cover, so make sure you get there early and stay late. Upside Bar and Lounge has daily specials, a margarita club, and a taco club. And don't forget, they just added Buzz Bowls to their menu. Learn more about upcoming events by visiting UpsideBarLNK.com and stop into their South Lincoln location for every UFC event on 27th and Pine Lake.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, to brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. Light winds. It'll be warm in the afternoon, high near 69. Tonight being the cloudy skies and light winds, a low around 47. And tomorrow we'll see probably sunny skies, be windy and warm, a high near 77. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, old school. Nick Wyman alongside Jake Bakoven. We are the backups, I assume, to the show now. Austin out in Arizona. Nebraska down 9-4 in the bottom of the fifth inning. Jay Foreman out traveling as well. So here we are. Who would have thought? If you had told me you and me would be here, I would have told me that on Friday. I wouldn't have believed you.
Would have been surprised.
Exactly. You know what else is a surprise?
What's that?
Conference football realignment. Not just, the FBS jumping from different conference to conference like a UCLA or USC, screwing up the Pac-12 or the Pac-10 going to the Big Ten. No. North Dakota State going to the Mountain West Conference. And as of today, officially, Sacramento State is going to the MAC. I know geographically it makes no sense.
None.
But I feel like that's switched around. But it is what it is, I guess. So now you're going to have like Ohio playing Sacramento State in a conference game, North Dakota State playing Hawaii. I don't really know what to think about this. This is a very weird, I don't know. The conferences just don't make any sense because especially the MAC. The MAC is because UMass is joining. UMass joined last year. They didn't win a single game. All the teams are basically paired in the that Ohio area, maybe a little bit to the East Coast, and then you have Sacramento State, who's all the way on the in California. I'm curious when the schedule comes out, what their travel schedule is going to look like.
Well, apparently they're going to pay for people the other team's trips to California. Financially, I'm not sure because they're not getting a part of the TV distribution either. I'm not sure how this helps or how they make it work. I'm interested to see as more of that comes out. But that was kind of it was made official today, and so some of the tweets are coming up about the specifics of the details. And it doesn't seem like Sacramento State got a very good deal other than the fact that obviously they get a move from FCS to FBS. And, that is a huge deal. But like you said, to be in the MAC is just kind of odd. We have to, you just have to kind of bury your typical geographical mind here these days. And it's just getting more and more confusing. And so you try to settle it in your mind about who's where. And then the next year there's a whole, like the Mountain West is a perfect example. I've loved the Mountain West for years. Now it was better back in the day when Boise State and TCU and some of those teams were in there. Utah, obviously, all those teams have moved on to bigger and brighter things. But this year, as Boise State moves on, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Utah State, all going over to join Oregon State and Washington State along with Texas State. There's a lot of states in there. And in the new look Pac-12. So even as you say, North Dakota State's entering the Mountain West. I don't even know who's in the Mountain West anymore. I know UNLV turned down.
I got to pull up here. The conference is just so different because, like you said, the Boise States of the world, but now the Pac-12 is trying to kind of reinvent themselves and nabbing teams in there. So the Mountain West will feature a membership model that brings together a full-time all-sport institutions of these schools. You have Hawaii, you have Air Force, you have Nevada, UNLV, New Mexico, San Jose State, UTEP, Wyoming. Okay, those are your schools. And then obviously they've done things elsewhere, like Grand Canyon's playing basketball in their conference right now. I barely knew that before like November. I was like, oh, like that's a weird one. And now you're going to add North Dakota State for football. I just want to see. So with the MAC plays those conference games in November on like Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. Yeah. Here's what I would do. Sacramento State, you play your normal games like Ohio, Buffalo at 6:00 or whatever. Have Sacramento State play a 9:30 Central Wednesday night game against Ball State or whatever, or what? have a late night after dark game, because
MAC after dark.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to. I mean, that's if they're playing a home game if they want to be part of the MAC, you got to go all in. I would say, just because you're on the West Coast, you to play on Saturdays. No, I think you have to play those Tuesday and Wednesday nights. So you'll have probably like early season college basketball happening. Then, by the way, Sacramento State's playing Akron coming up next, or like a team like UMass is going to have to make the trip all the way. I don't know.
What a mess.
Scheduler's going to be the MVP of the conference, I guess. And same goes for North Dakota State. North Dakota State, I want to see a team like Hawaii go to the Bison Dome.
Yeah.
And like North Dakota State, I'm curious because like these two teams have to, they want to be bowl eligible right away. Kind of like with Delaware, they have to wait and see how many teams are eligible. They're kind of in that boat. I don't like that rule. I think if you win 6 games, so be it. You get in. Especially a team like, I think going up from FCS to FBS, it's very hard to do that, especially if you're North Dakota State and I don't know. It's very weird. Like North Dakota State and Sac State have been really good. I'm curious what that looks like at the FBS level, because we've seen them play some FCS. I mean, North Dakota State's beaten Iowa before, hung with Colorado a couple. Yeah. I'm curious what this looks like on paper.
Well, and two, I think this is the old. I completely agree with you. Like, scrap that 2-year rule specifically for North Dakota State, because that's the team. That's the question. I mean, there have been other teams that have made the move from FCS to FBS, but for years we've wondered, well, what if North Dakota State did? What would it look like? Especially with a full schedule in playing against some Power 4 teams, but now we see them in the Mountain West, and there's some good teams there. Don't get it confused. UNLV, of course, Nebraska fans know well. Dan Mullen had a good year this past year. They lose Calandry, obviously, at quarterback to the player of the year in that conference to come over to Nebraska, but that's been a really good school. I want to see a UNLV and in North Dakota State with something on the line. I don't want North Dakota State wins, or you always hate it when a team. And Nebraska had been through this before with the legends and leaders before, where a team that's like third place in the conference gets to get to the championship game because somebody else is, not qualified for whatever reason or not. So, if North Dakota State or Sac State for that matter are the best in their conference, especially, the rule just doesn't make any sense to me to begin with, because It's like, if you are overcoming the odds to be in that position, to be a winning team, why shouldn't you be rewarded?
Hour one of Old School is brought to you by the Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows is based out of Howland, Nebraska, and they offer free estimate, full window replacements, and vinyl triple pane windows, and lifetime warranty on everything, while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give Heartland Nebraska Windows a call today. For more information at 402-430-3852, or visit them online at heartlandnebraskawindows.com. So Jake Bachman, we're making a call to the bullpen here. Tristan Gomez is going to step in here for hour 2. You're listening to Old School here on 94.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Jordy Ball for Anderson Ford. For years, Anderson has relied on an exceptional customer experience. But just this once, they're going to rely on a really great pitch.
Right now, lease a 2025 Ford F-150 for $199 per month.
Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 100755. Previous service loader. $199 per month. Lease for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 6,800 due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 3/31/26. See dealer for details.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
If you've been around Lincoln for more than a few years, you've heard of Dewey's Computer Service. We've been fixing computers for nearly 30 years. Now, we're Wingman IT, and we take care of all the things that go buzz, beep, or ding for your business. Our team of support engineers take care of everything from computers and servers to business phones, network cabling, firewalls, and most importantly, IT security. We take care of technology so you can focus on running your business. Call us or visit us at wingmanit.com.
The place you call home should always be a place of comfort. Warm and cozy in winter, cool and relaxing in summer. If your home isn't delivering the comfort you expect, call Bryant. It's more than just hot and cold to them. It's about providing the best comfort solutions. And Bryant gives you a full 24-month test drive on your home comfort system. Get full details at BryantLincoln.com or call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Bryant, whatever it takes.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
When you or someone you know has been seriously injured and you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will fight for the justice you deserve in court to get the very best possible outcome. Trust the compassionate and hardworking attorneys at Liberty Law Group when you need an attorney in Nebraska or Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Asset Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Asset Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. Get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. When we're looking out for a homeowner, we're always keeping their budget in mind. Let's put numbers together and let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Woo! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That is right. Old School, not with Foreman and Orman, though. We're made another call to the bullpen here, sticking with the baseball and softball season. Another call to the bullpen. Bakoven's out of here. Tristan Gomez stepping in. You're warmed up, correct?
Warmed up, yeah, ready to go.
Warmed up. You did some sprints, did some, shake the arms off in there and everything. No, I mean you're ready to go. You're ready to go. But see, we got the depth here at the Ticket. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of depth. The Graham Tire Company is celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. They're more than just tires. They do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too, from brakes to oil changes. Trust Graham Tire for service, and you can count on Graham Tire getting you to places that matter most. As what a day! I mean, this is nuts. Bach steps in for an hour. Now you're in here. Austin obviously out in Scottsdale right now, Nebraska, chipping away. It was 9-0. It's now 9-6 on the top of the six now. Interesting. I mean, 3-0 start, first time since 2005, which was the last time Nebraska made the College World Series. Yeah, kind of crazy that's kind of how it is for reality.
These are the toughest games when it comes to college baseball. Is the 4-game series. Opening weekend, you're limited on pitching, and you're playing Stanford, who is one of the top teams in the country year in and year out. And the Huskers, I mean, hopefully they come back. But, yeah, that's a tall task.
Yeah, I mean, you play 2 teams who are solid. 3 teams. I mean, UConn, Big East, like we talked on Saturday. Big East team who's regular season champs the last 3 years. You got Northeastern, who won almost 50 games a year ago. And then you have Grand Canyon, who's kind of a thorn in a lot of team sides out there on the West Coast. But now you're playing a team that's a perennial baseball school. They're always good no matter the conference, the Pac-10, the Pac-12, the ACC, a solid program. So Nebraska chipping away there, 9-6, top 6. I wanted to talk a little bit about college basketball in general. So Nebraska, 68-49 win over Northwestern. Just give your overall thoughts on just how Nebraska looked in that game. I know me and Bach talked about in the first hour. Also, if you're watching along, chime in. We'd love to hear you. Tristan, me would love to hear you on the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, 402-464-5685. Or if you're watching on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, or on Allo Channel 9, we'd love to hear from you. This is your show. We're here filling in, and you can be a part of the show in any shape or form, as I just mentioned. But Nebraska basketball, 68-49 win. Wasn't the prettiest game that you'll see on film or whatnot. A lot of turnovers both ways. Neither team played their best in that first 20 minutes, but Nebraska was able to kind of weather the storm and pick up a nice win. I did mention deja vu looking at this game. When Nebraska played Northwestern earlier this year, Northwestern was on a 4-game skid. Nebraska beat them by 19 at their place. Coming into Saturday, Northwestern was on a 4-game skid. Nebraska beat them by 19. It wasn't the same game, but the same result.
Yeah, this is I think the perfect time for this game for Nebraska. You just get done playing 3 of the top teams in the Big Ten when you take on Michigan, you take on Illinois again, you take on Purdue, and I think you just needed a win to kind of just get back in that win column, get consistent again. And this was the perfect game for it. And you noticed in the first half, I don't think it was awful. You could tell that the refs were really letting them play, and I think that was an adjustment that both teams had to make. And I don't think anyone really got in a huge rhythm in that first half. And I think we've seen that in previous games this year with Nebraska, is where teams kind of just stick around. Oregon even did it a little bit where, Oregon ends up losing by 40 plus to Nebraska. But then same thing in the Washington game. Those are just the games that I think we see in the first half where maybe we would just like Nebraska to get going just a little bit quicker. But then, yeah, like you said, you get into the second half and you end with a 19-point victory. I don't think it felt like that the entire game, but they definitely played well enough to, take advantage of this Northwestern team that is really struggling.
1001 says the only thing I worry about as Nebraska plays tougher teams is the lack of depth starting to show a bit for this Nebraska team. I mean, depth is depth. It is what it is. Nebraska right now just kind of rolling with the rotation they have, but I think Nebraska has been able to kind of get away with it. I think they've been able to just do what they can, because if you would have told me Jamarcus Lawrence and Rink Master combined for 5 points and Nebraska would still win by 19 points, I mean, you take what you can. And well, there's a lot of teams in college basketball that aren't playing 10-plus guys.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that quite a bit, is how rare it really is for you to have 3 guys off the bench that are really extreme playmakers. And yeah, you said it best. Rink Mass and Jamarcus Lawrence both combined for 5 points. Thankfully, Price Sanford has an unreal game with 29, and then Sam Hoiberg, who has just progressively gotten better throughout this entire season. Like, I know every fan sees it and every fan talks about it, but like, you can't harp on enough how great Sam Hoiberg has been for this team. You talk about all the time of him being the glue guy. But so when you worry about the depth, I think it's just the guys coming off the bench, which you still have Braden Frager, who's back, getting back in the swing of things. But you have multiple guys that can score. So I don't think you need multiple guys off the bench to score. I think it's more guys that just bring value, and maybe their plus minus is positive when they're coming in off the bench.
And you look at a guy like Cale Jacobson, 27 minutes played. He was very efficient, made his first 4 shots, 10 points, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. Nebraska's going to need guys like that to kind of light a spark. Guys like that. Braden Frager only had 8 points in 23 minutes. And then a couple of guys played down the stretch. Jared Garcia and Kendall Blue only played in the final 2 minutes. But if they can have 2 guys off the bench that play like that, they're gonna win a lot of games, and that's shown so far. 0326 says the rebounding was so much better this year. We've been able to make up for the deficit by creating a lot more turnovers than we give up. The game was flip-flopped, except Nebraska turned Northwestern over almost as much. That's the thing I didn't hear a lot about on Saturday. So Nebraska, everybody was talking about they have to be better rebounding. They have to rebound better. They have to rebound more. They out-rebounded Northwestern 40-24. I mean, that is a complete 180 from the Purdue game.
Yeah.
And to be able to win the rebounding battle, something people have begged for in the Michigan game, in the Illinois game, in the Purdue game. Those are games Nebraska lost. And now they win. And I just think it's really weird that nobody really chimes in about the rebounding, because you don't really notice it when you're winning. It's weird.
I think you don't notice it a lot when it comes to you're giving up offensive, or when you're not giving up offensive rebounds. If the other team is just out rebounding you on the defensive end, you kind of understand that. But I think against Purdue is so noticeable because Purdue had so many second chance points. And that's the reason that, Nebraska makes this extraordinary comeback. But if you just think, if we limit those offensive rebounds, I mean, I think they had over, 12 or so, and they had 17 second chance points. Purdue did against Nebraska. If you can limit those somehow and go, yeah, we only allowed 8 second chance points, that's a lot of points that are taken off the board. And so, yeah, but like you said, it is very easy to harp on the rebounding when you are losing. And then when you're winning, you don't even notice it that much.
Let's look at the AP poll that came out earlier today. Michigan moves up to number 1, previously ranked number 2. Michigan now number 1 in the nation. Houston number 2, Duke 3, Arizona 4, rounding out the top 4. Number 5, UConn, 6, Iowa State, 7, Purdue, who Nebraska just saw at Pinnacle Bank Arena, 8, Kansas. Nebraska comes in at number 9, dropping 2 spots after losing at Purdue and beating Northwestern. And then rounding out the top 10 is Illinois at number 10. And then right on the outside looking in, you have Gonzaga, Florida, Texas Tech, Virginia, and Michigan State wrapping up the top 15. The top 10 is going to shake up again this week as you look at the schedule and whatnot. You have Michigan playing Duke in a rare non-conference game, neutral site game on Saturday. That'll be a big one. I mean, maybe a national championship preview. I don't know. Could be. I mean, that one. But you also got Houston, Arizona. Those teams are going to match up. And Arizona's coming off a weird week as well. Houston is kind of the normal Houston team we've seen in the past, where they're going to play defense and play hard and win games just in spite of how well their offense has been, but they're able to win. And then UConn's UConn. We saw them slip up against St. John's a couple Fridays ago. But since then, and then a team like Iowa State, I know we wanted to get into Iowa State because they have such a unique schedule. But first, I want to talk about this Duke-Michigan game. Odd to have it in mid-February, I would say, but I'm not complaining. You get a top 5 matchup, top 3 matchup in mid-February. Very rare, but unless you're in the same conference, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting game. I think for both teams, I'm not sure if this is the way that they're going into it, but this is a non-conference game. This isn't going against their record. And then, yeah, they get to their conference record. They get to play some of the best competition that could be a preview of a national champion. I mean, 2 national championship contenders right here that are going to be going at it. And you have Duke, who has been unbelievably consistent in the ACC, besides that loss to North Carolina. And then Michigan, who has been just dominant ever since that loss to Wisconsin and, the whole year as an entirety. And so I think this is an exciting game that a lot of people are going to tune in. And it's just like a treat. I mean, like we've watched plenty of conference basketball, which has been beautiful. It's been exciting. But now we have an opportunity to watch 2 of the best teams in the country. Now the number 1 team in the Big Ten and in the country in Michigan take on the Duke Blue Devils. This is going to be an exciting one to watch.
And that one's tipping off at 5:30 on Saturday. But before that, even, you have another marquee matchup, 2 o'clock on Saturday. Number 4, Arizona against number 2, Houston. Another, both teams are 23-2, 10-2 in the Big 12 for the Wildcats. The Cougars sitting at 11-1 in the Big 12. There are a lot of really good games. I mean, college basketball takes over the landscape this time of year. And Houston's got a crazy week. They have a home game against Arizona, but they can't look ahead because tonight they're playing in Ames against Iowa State, would tip off at 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN. And Iowa State, they're a weird bunch. Like, you look at last week, you tail of 2 games. Came in, beating UCF, Oklahoma State, Colorado, K-State, Baylor, and then they drop a weird one to TCU, 62-55 last Tuesday, and they turn around and then roll Kansas at their place a couple days later, 74-56. And then they have they probably have the toughest schedule in college basketball, I would say, the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Not only just what they had before that with in the Kansas game. You look at the rest. So tonight, Houston, who's number 2. After that, on the 21st, at BYU, a tough place to play, playing A.J. Bonsa, probably the top 2 pick, maybe number 1, depending on who you ask. Then, Utah's in there, okay. And then the home stretch of the season against Texas Tech, and then you got Arizona again on the road. I mean, Iowa State's a team, like, you look at rooting interest for Nebraska. You want teams to lose so Nebraska can get better seeding. Iowa State's one of those teams because look at the road. If they win majority of those games, Iowa State could be maybe a 1 seed. I would say so.
Yeah, I think this Big 12, just it coming down the stretch, getting into that Big 12 conference tournament is going to be huge for Nebraska. I don't really know who you even root for as a Nebraska fan. Are you rooting against Iowa State so they just drop out and you don't have to worry about them being ahead? And then you just leave it to, Arizona and Houston being at the top, them fighting for 1 seeds. And then the great thing for Nebraska is when it comes to Big 10 play, Michigan has to play the teams that are ahead or tied with Nebraska in this conference right now. I mean, you're looking at teams like Illinois, you're looking at Purdue, you're looking at Michigan State. Like, those are all games that Michigan has. And Nebraska is in control of their own destiny for the rest of the regular season. They have a great opportunity to be the 2 seed going into the Big 10 tournament, which I think is a great look when you are looking at the beginning of the season where Nebraska was projected 14th or 15th in the Big 10, and now they're fighting for that 2 spot and going into the Big 10 tournament. And if they perform well there, looking for getting a triple bye in the Big 10 tournament, then you have an awesome opportunity to go ahead into March Madness with a great seed and just all the confidence in the world.
Ogie on the text line says, in my biased opinion, Nebraska is one of the best 7-man rotations in college basketball. If they stay healthy, it's going to be an interesting postseason. I mean, yeah, they stay healthy, and they're a team where guys, Price obviously had the 29 on Saturday, but there's games we've seen. Rink Mass against Rutgers was able to lead the charge. Marcus Lawrence has been able to take over games. Sam Hoiberg dropping 14, a quiet 14, I would say. Braden Frager off the bench. If you have guys playing like that come tournament time and they're playing at the tip of the top of their level, you're being a tough out come tournament time. I know Nebraska hasn't won a game in the tournament. I know that's the bad mojo over the program over the past couple of years and centuries in college basketball, but I agree with that. They have probably one of the best 7-man rotation. They don't have an all-star player, a top pick like some teams do. As mentioned, BYU, A.J. Bonsa, Kansas has a Darren Peterson. Those are probably your top players in the country. A Cam Boozer at Duke. Duke's also got a couple of guys there. But what makes college basketball, I think we've seen in past years, past championship teams, one guy isn't going to carry you to the crown. Yeah. No pun intended with the crown tournament. But I think when you have multiple guys playing like that, you're going to win a lot. Like Florida last year, they had the guy on their team, but they also had multiple guys to work around him.
Yeah, there's not many teams like Nebraska that can have a Rink Mass or a Jamarcus Lawrence that combined for 5 points, and those are your top scorers along with Price Sanford. So that's what's so great and gives us fans, I think, so much confidence in this Nebraska basketball team is that when guys are struggling, if someone is having an off night, you have multiple guys. You even have Braden Frager. You have Sam Hoiberg now, who is putting up unbelievable numbers and every single stat line when it comes to assists. He's taking care of the ball, limiting turnovers. He's getting rebounds. He's scoring points as well. He's doing all the right things to help this Nebraska team win. And so when someone does have an off night, that's why this this 7-man team that, you have these 7 players that are consistently on the floor. They play so well together, and they're one of the most mature teams in college basketball. When you look at the age, Nebraska is not a place where we have a whole bunch of one and dones and guys that we only get for a year. We have guys that are developing. And we've talked about this before. This is the first team I feel like Fred Hoiberg has here at Nebraska that is exactly what he wants to coach. He wants to coach guys that, are going to swing the ball. They're going to play unbelievable defense. And you don't have to rely on just one guy to go off. I think we've seen that. We saw that with Bryce a few years ago or even last year, where we kind of needed him to go off. And if he didn't, we were out of luck. So I think that's a great thing about this Nebraska team and what Fred Hoiberg has built is you have so many guys that know their role and are going to find ways to benefit the team, whether it's scoring or just playing good defense.
And I'll know about, Nebraska's schedule does get lighter, quote unquote. I will say, I won't say it's like, oh, these are easier guaranteed wins or whatever, but you got a Penn State team in Maryland in there who are going to be, they're playing for whatever. You never know. A team like that could pick somebody off come end of the season. It's happened. It happens a lot in college basketball. You see it every night. A couple weekends ago, we saw it with Portland beating Gonzaga. Nobody had that on the radar. It was an ESPN Plus game. I don't know how many people watch it. I don't know how many Portland people watch it, but it happened. And college basketball is a weird world where that you have to come to play every game. And those USC, UCLA games, you got to bring your A game on those games in the West Coast. Iowa playing them twice in a span of a couple weeks is going to be tough. And then you flip the page to the tournament. The Big Ten tournament is going to be a battle no matter who they're playing, because we've seen teams in tournament play get hot and make a run. NC State being one of them a couple of years ago with DJ Burns and company got hot and shocked everybody, Duke and et cetera, and then made a run. It all depends on who's hot. Nebraska can't be a team where they go in the tournament play as, we already have our, we're going to be a top 4 seed, and then they play a team like USC or UCLA come quarterfinal rounds and then get picked off, because then you're entering the tournament on a loss, and it could be a bad loss. So
there are a lot of teams that I think the conference tournament is like their time to shine. They know they have to show something. They have to prove something if they want to inch their way into this tournament. Nebraska's at a point, thankfully, where they don't have to worry about that. But when conference tournament play comes to happen, there are going to be teams that want to beat Nebraska because they need to beat Nebraska if they want to make their way into the tournament. So I think Nebraska just don't take those lightly, but also just, be on eyes on the, task at hand. You have Iowa right now. You can't look past them, especially when you're playing, your rival. This is one of the bigger games of this season just because of the, blood between the two teams. So I think this is a game that Nebraska takes care of business, and they know they should win. It's just if they execute the way they have been.
Well, Tristan, I have some news for you and news for the viewers. Jay Foreman is here.
He has made it back.
Jay Foreman has made it. I, missed half the show, but we're pulling another call to the bullpen. We had Jake Bakoven for first hour. Then we had Tristan filling in for a half hour. We got Jay Foreman coming on here after this break. You're listening to Old School. Nick Wyman, Tristan Gomez, Jay Foreman coming up here on stream here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's Flavor Flav, and I'm bringing the hype to the U.S. bobsled and skeleton team with Raisin Cane's, chicken fingers, and cane sauce with a bobsled plush puppy.
One love. Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings, thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. Light winds. It'll be warm. The afternoon high near 69. Tonight, mainly cloudy skies and light winds. A low around 47. And tomorrow, we'll see probably sunny skies. It'll be windy and warm. The high near 77. I'm meteorologist Kyle Lucky for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That is right. Old School are back, and we have Jay Foreman out of the bullpen. We've had Bach on for an hour. We had Tristan just fill in, and now we have Jay Foreman. The piano is back. I see the piano. The piano is back. I love that we're sticking with the same background. It looks good. It looks solid. Makes it look like I don't know if you know any piano. I can't play the piano. That's for dang sure. I cannot do that.
No, man, I don't think I can't even lie to you and say I could even hold a note, both the piano or sing. But it looks good, and what's funny is that when I was playing in Houston, I had a teammate. We go over, watch some games, drink some beers or whatever. And it's funny, he had a piano in his living room, knowing dang well that thing was collecting dust. So it's for me, if I had a piano, it would just be for aesthetic purposes only.
Yeah, it looks good, though, in the background there. You know what else looks good? Nebraska basketball getting another win. Nebraska basketball back in the win column. 68-49 win over Northwestern on Saturday. Didn't look good at all times, but it was a win. If you're watching on Facebook, X, YouTube, Allo Channel 961, hit us up, 402-464-5685, the Star Haven Jewelers text line. We got Jay Foreman in the house now here for the second half of the show. Eric says, part-time Jay, my man. So, hey, travel issues are a thing. We got depth here. We have flexibility, and this guy battled travel issues and still is here. So, hey, we really respect the grind.
Yeah, Nick, you're not used to Eric, man. That's he's trying to implement his tough love, but that's just his way of letting me know that he missed me. But look, Nebraska basketball, you kind of had hoped that they were going to start a little bit faster, and then they started to get it going, a little bit in the second half. But the more impressive thing, I know it was technically an ugly win, but to hold Northwestern to 49 points is probably the most impressive thing. They battled Michigan just a couple of days earlier. They have one of the nation's leading scorers in Martinelli, and they shut him down pretty good. And so they made it one-handed, and they were able to get the victory. And so, look, you have full trust in the offense of Fred Hoiberg will get going. But more importantly, the defense was good, and the rebounding and the effort was there from start to finish. And that's what they wanted to see and wanted to improve on from the Purdue game. And so all the things that you wanted to obviously most important is coming out with a victory. But you wanted to do the little things and, obviously go out there and compete from start to finish. And that's what they did.
I think another thing that jumped out to me is the rebounding. Everybody was talking about rebounding and how Nebraska needs to fix the rebounding issues against a team. And those are all in losses to Michigan, Illinois, and Purdue. Complete 180 against Northwestern, 40-24 in total rebounds. Nebraska with 13 offensive rebounds to Northwestern 6, and Nebraska grabbing 27 on the defensive side. I think that was my biggest takeaway. Besides neither team played great offensively. 28-27 in the first half, kind of a rock fight.
Right.
A lot of turnovers as well, but to weather the storm and score 40 points in the second half and only give up 22 against a team that has struggled. And like you said, Martinelli, 4-12, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Only 8 points from the floor. Outside of those 3 free throws, they were able to shut him down. He is their guy, one of the best scorers in the conference, and just be able to kind of weather the storm and get out of there with a win. Because any conference wins a win. And now you kind of turn your attention toward the lighter part of the schedule. I joke. They still got Iowa twice. You got Maryland, Penn State, which you got to show up for those games this time of year. Those teams are kind of trying to gather momentum and try to find something down the stretch of the regular season, because they're near the bunker of the Big Ten. And so it's a large conference, but they're near the bunker. And then you have that West Coast trip with USC and UCLA, which those games are going to be no slouches either. So there are no ranked teams currently on the schedule, but a lot can change in a couple weeks, Jay.
Yeah, the rebound's always key. I think if Nebraska can stay within 12, if they, their margin for me is 12 or lower. If they lose the rebounding, advantage, they won it against Northwestern. So, I think they were right in their wheelhouse, and that's where they were able to gut out a, ugly victory in a rock fight, like you called it, in the first half. But they always kind of was able to regain the lead. Northwestern to get up at like maybe 5, Nebraska to run off 6. And then, so, there was just a matter of time that Nebraska was going to impose their will and blow the game open. And so as they move towards this last, quarter of the season or whatever you want to call it, and you can't look at whether the teams are ranked. I think the best thing for them is they're gonna face different styles of basketball. So you have to be able to adapt to different styles of basketball. Iowa plays, a little bit more of a 5 out, and you got to guard everybody. You got to switch everything. You're gonna see some athletic ability that you hadn't seen on a regular basis from USC. You're gonna see the more height in bigger team in UCLA, a tough defensive, rugged team with Cronin out there. And then obviously when you play Maryland, Buzz is going to have his team ready. And obviously, Fred and company owes Buzz a little bit of a payback from when he was at Texas A&M. So he's going to, I think it's not going to be an easy, part of the schedule. Obviously, when you go through the gauntlet where Nebraska, lost to, 3 really, really good teams, you can say, oh, we get a little bit of reprieve. But I think this team right now, coming off the sickness from Rink, and then obviously Frager is still getting back from the ankle injury. I think you're going to use this obviously to find your rhythm. Maybe try to extend your bench by a player or two. That whether it's Garcia or you saw Blue get in there, whoever can kind of step up and be that true 8th, 9th man is a big part of this last part of the schedule. But then also you want to get that continuity back to where you can find, 5 guys that can fill it up, because, they're going to try to come in and probably focus on price, rank next, and then who's going to step up third to be able to, carry the water, like I like to say.
You mentioned the depth. Ogie had a question earlier on the chat and said, in his biased opinion, he thinks Nebraska has one of the best 7-man rotations in college basketball. He says if they can stay healthy, it's going to be an interesting postseason for the Cornhuskers. I mean, everybody talks about the depth, but there's a lot of teams that only play 7 guys. Nebraska's been able to kind of get away with that because every given night there's a different guy who's going to step up. Obviously, Price was right on Saturday. Rink Mass obviously had the Rutgers game. You win by 19 against Northwestern, while Rink and Jamarcus Lawrence are only scoring 5 points total combined. I think this is a team where you have enough bodies. I don't think you don't have to be a 10-man rotation to win. I think a solid 7-man rotation can get you pretty far if everybody stays healthy in college basketball. I would assume so, just because of teams we've seen teams in the past who win championships. They're not playing the whole entire bench. They're just playing 7 guys. Like, would you like to see a guy like Jared Garcia get going and find his groove? Yes, it would add another layer to Nebraska. But I think if you're having guys like Braden Frager and Cale Jacobson being those guys off the bench, I don't think there's any worry with Nebraska. And I don't think you switch what's not broken right now. Obviously, you lost 3 games, but I would just stick with the 7-man rotation and don't fix what's not broken. Because in those games you lose, they weren't bad losses by any means. I mean, the Purdue game, you're down 20+, and you come back and force overtime in one of the weirdest college basketball games probably this season you'll see. Not just Nebraska game, but just in general. I think a 7 rotation is fine. 8 guys would be nice. 9 guys would be nice, but 7 guys, don't fix what's not broken. You still with us, Jay? Uh-oh, I think Jay froze. Man, that is tough. Jay, you there? Oh, Jay froze, I think. Well, we left Jay Foreman there on a cliffhanger, I guess. So we'll have to see what he has to say at another time. So with that, I will fill in for the next couple segments. But Nebraska basketball, you look at how they have played. Nebraska basketball has lost 3 games that have been tough. Obviously, Illinois, hottest team in the country at that moment. And then you have a team like Purdue, who came out and beat you in the first 3 minutes. And that is tough. And that is just, it's just interesting. And then you get the weather storm and get back in the win column against Northwestern. Nebraska's a team where those 3 losses are not bad losses. You obviously ended up on the wrong end of those games. But that's not the end of the world. 22-3 is 22-3. It's not like Purdue, Illinois, and Michigan. You look at where they're ranked right now. Michigan's number 1 in the nation. And Nebraska hung around with them till the very end. And let's see. I think we got Jay back here. Jay, you with us? Are you with us, Jay? I think he's there. I hear him. Jay, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jay? Man, he's lagging out here. This is unfortunate. But this is live radio. This is just how it goes. But yeah, Nebraska basketball losing those 3 games, and that is just unfortunate. That is how the game rolls. Let's look at those 3 losses. You dive into those 3 losses. Michigan game, you're missing 2 guys. You're missing Braden Frager. You're missing Rink Mast. You're missing 2 guys. And you still hung around with them. Hung around with a really good team. And that's why they're number 1 in the nation right now. And then you lose to Purdue, who came out and on fire to beat a team like Purdue. And they just came out on fire and were able to take advantage early against a team like Nebraska. And Nebraska, hey, credit to them. I mean, you're down 20+, 22 points at one point against the Boilermakers, and were able to come back and make that a game. But tomorrow night, Iowa, no slouch. Iowa is no slouch. They'll be tough. The rivalry games are always tough. But we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. We will talk a little bit about conference realignment. We're going to try to get Jay Foreman back in here. Technical issues as always, happen. That is the internet for you. So we'll be right back. Old School. Nick Wyman, we're going to try to get Jay Foreman back in here on 92.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
When you or someone you know has been seriously injured and you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will fight for the justice you deserve in court to get the very best possible outcome. Trust the compassionate and hardworking attorneys at Liberty Law Group when you need an attorney in Nebraska or Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I Parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I Parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
If you've been around Lincoln for more than a few years, you've heard of Dewey's Computer Service. We've been fixing computers for nearly 30 years. Now, we're Wingman IT, and we take care of all the things that go buzz, beep, or ding for your business. Our team of support engineers take care of everything from computers and servers to business phones, network cabling, firewalls, and most importantly, IT security. We take care of technology so you can focus on running your business. Call us or visit us at wingmanit.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Hey, Nebraska, this is your moment. Love Nebraska is already making noise on the court, but they're still missing one thing: a nickname. That's where you come in. Love Nebraska is giving fans the chance to submit the team's official nickname. Fans will then vote on the finalists later this season. Head to lovbneb.com/nameyourteam to submit your nickname and get in the game. Submissions end on February 22nd. Name your team, shape the legacy.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
And we are back, and Jay Foreman is back. It looks like he's back. Jay, you there? You there, Jay? I mean, the technical difficulties, man. That's just how we do it, right?
Yeah, you got to unmute my mic, but yeah, I'm back.
I posed a question to you, and I was like, well, I see him. He's looking at me, but I didn't hear him talking. I'm like, man, this is rough. But yeah, Nebraska, Iowa tomorrow, 8:00 tip. Post-game coverage on here will be around 10 o'clock. As always, we also have a week left to vote to get named for Love Volleyball, Love Nebraska, and choose the name. You have a week left. If you need tickets, are also available at lovnebraska.com. So let's shift gears to football, Jay. Conference realignment is kind of still going on, taking storm. North Dakota State going to the Mountain West, and Sacramento State going to the MAC. It doesn't geographically make sense, but that's college football in general. It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, it's interesting that North Dakota State is going to pay, upwards of $17 million to get into, big time college football. Maybe they're envisioning that it's going to go to the European soccer model, where it's going to be two major conferences where you're going to have to level up or level down. But they have the obviously the pedigree. It's a big risk for them because they're dominant in the level that they're at, and so now you're going to be playing better teams week in and week out. So you're going to have to really, really adjust how you recruit. Now, obviously, their recruiting base is going to be expanded, but I'm not sure that North Dakota State is a destination for Florida kids. But they've done pretty well with their program right now. But I think you're going to see constant year by year shuffling of conferences and trying to really find their footing with the envision in 2031. The college football playoffs contract is technically up, so that's when you think it's going to flip again to more of what I think is like the European model, European soccer model, where you're going to have to be relegated or derelegated down to one level, a higher league versus the other league in two separate TV contracts. And so that's where you probably see North Dakota State, and you're going to see maybe South Dakota State if they get it rolling again with Coach Jackson, and Montana State. Don't think that they won't jump into the Mountain West or something like that as well. Because of proximity purposes, but then also the financial gains potentially for a school like those three that I mentioned could be, it could be really earth shattering for them to have that millions of dollars to come into their program. After they get into that 5-year mark, they could really be moving some big things up there in Montana State.
Yeah, you hit it right on the nose. Like a Montana State, South Dakota State, Idaho, maybe a team that moves back into the FBS level. The FCS level is going to be very interesting how it affects how that goes down. Because a lot of these teams that are moving up, North Dakota State, Sacramento State, and the other ones you mentioned are the top pedigree of FCS level football. It's going to be a trickle effect, especially for that level. It's going to be so hard to imagine like a UMass playing a Sacramento State as a conference game, or like a Hawaii playing North Dakota State. It just seems like something that you could have told me, for 3 to 5 years ago. I would have been like, you're making up stuff. There's no way that's happened. That's just a game they play, week 1 or week 2 of the year, and then they move on with life and they play the rest of their schedule. It's so fascinating how that changes. And then the one thing I don't like is that those teams like North Dakota State and Sacramento State have to do the 2-year wait to get to a bowl game unless there's not enough 6-win teams. I think they should be eligible right away. If they want to stay up and they're paying up the money to be in that conference and get to that level, why not? Why not I wouldn't penalize you if you win, 8-4 with North Dakota State, especially in your first year playing a full FBS schedule. And that travel is going to be insane too. The Mountain West came out their schedule, Jay, back in December. They're going to have to redo that entire thing.
Yeah, I hate it for them that where you're not going to be able to be bowl eligible because that's where you get the bowl money. And if they have a really good year, you can get it to a big bowl where it could not only cover their expenses, it could really jump into their rev sharing or NIL, potential, or be able to obviously keep, building that roster. So I'm a 100% agree with you on that. I don't like that. But then also I think that, the travel, you could sell it to the North Dakota State kids. Like we play at Hawaii this year. It could be like, your family can go out there and you can kind of make it almost like when Nebraska went to Ireland, but I think when Sacramento State goes out to UMass, I don't think anybody's going to be excited about like that for a 6-hour flight to go out there and play UMass, 6-hour flight back and probably have 5,500 people at the game. But they got to be really, really strategic about those type of trips and maybe scheduling their bye week shortly after, kind of like when the NFL and the Jaguars go over to Europe and play all the time, or teams go over to overseas. They need a week off after that just because of travel. And let's also not forget, the academic part and all that other stuff, how much school they're going to be missing. And obviously the expenses is going to be huge as well because they're fronting all the money to get into these conferences and they're not getting any payoff if they make, or when they like to think they make a bowl game. And so I think they need to really adjust that. I know it's a rule that's been in effect for a while, but if you want teams like James Madison to get up there and really foster your, I guess in my vision, if you have a second tier league and a second tier contract to where they could be beneficial for not only the networks, but then obviously the teams playing in that, the other 40, say you have the top 56 in that top league, right? With the 8 that's going to potentially be regulated or deregulated, you'll have 40 or so, because it's past the 132, you'll be at 140. So you'll be down there, 60 some teams. You want to make it beneficial to them that they can get to a bowl game and obviously be financially sound as well. Nobody wants to play sports and winning games and be in the red and you miss out on potential of look at Miami this year, right?
Yeah.
They got 20 million for that last run. Well, that only, helps their NIL. It kind of really takes care of their rev share if they want it for this 2026. But you can piece it together. They're able to go get Mensa, their quarterback. They're obviously able to go get the receiver. So it's big business and it's a lot of money to be had. And I hate for teams that are, fronting the money and not being able to recoup it for, 2+ years.
The conference realignment, I feel like it kind of settles. It feels like the storm's over with it, but every year there's something. I wonder if there's a trickle effect to this. That's what I really think is the relegation and promotion, kind of like the European soccer thing. I think is the way to go because you want to put the best of the best based off of last year's results. It's money driven. I don't know how you fully get every conference kind of on online with that and how you tier them or whatever. How you tier the teams or whatever. That's a story for another day for the NCAA. But I'm curious how this trickles for FCS because FCS football, they have some really good games every year. Good championships. Montana State last year, a couple months ago, played Illinois State. Illinois State made a run to the championship game, beat North Dakota State. I'm curious how this affects the FCS level of football as well because they've had some, Sam Houston State, they're a team who just moved up a couple of years ago. Now they're out of that realm. James Madison was there, decade ago. Now they're out of there in the Sun Belt. The trickle effect, I'm curious of how it goes for the rest of FCS level football because, as you mentioned, there's Montana State. That's kind of a rivalry up there. I think those teams would be inclined to maybe make a jump to a Mountain West or in this case, the MAC. I don't know. Being wherever you are located in the country doesn't really matter, I guess.
No, not at all. But you guys got to think that is there really a difference when you think about University of Alabama, Birmingham, and Sam Houston State, Montana? You probably would be betting on the latter, right? And so that's why I think it'd be appealing for the FCS to take all their teams, combine it with the lower half of the, obviously the college football or FBS teams, and really make it would be more sellable. You'll get some odd, obviously, matchups, right? And you could do it by regions, but it's more sellable to, the ESPN2 or whatever, the Fox 2 or whatever, to the TV for the TV rights for it, it could bring money into all the teams. You can kind of reset your rev sharing and how you're doing about your NIL packages at that, when you get, I guess, deregulated down to the lower league. But then it puts pressure on the Wake Forests, they say the Northwesterns, that'd be probably the bottom of the top tier league, that they got to constantly be, putting money into their football program in this case. And you could separate from, I guess, the NCAA and have like two commissioners or a commissioning board, and then obviously come back together for the college football playoffs. And it'd be beneficial for everybody. Everybody make a ton of money. Like you said, the games are exciting. They already have the playbook for the playoffs down there at that level. Obviously, you'd have to expand it. You'd have lower level bowl games, but you could, those are good problems to have when you're trying to find bowl games and bowl sites to be full, because those teams travel. So you could be down in Shreveport, and yes, it's not ideal, but the stadium would be packed. And so it'd be really beneficial for the teams, because you'd bring money into the economy, but then also you're getting some bowl money, not to the extent that you're up at the big leagues, but you're obviously maximizing your input and output both on and off the field.
Yeah, you totally hit it on the nail there. The FCS level, they have the playoff figured. They've had the playoff figured out for years. There's no debate with their playoff. Their playoff has upsets. Their playoff has dynasties and whatnot. I didn't mention South Dakota. South Dakota State, that's another team you can see. The Jackrabbits. I mean, when did they move up? There's teams like that. Last thing we go for break. What do you think about a Sacramento State? The MAC plays their November games on like Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. What would you think about a Sacramento State hosting a game at like 9:30 Central Time on a Tuesday or Wednesday night against a Ball State or a Buffalo or whatever when they're playing on the West Coast? Would you be for that or against it? I like football. That'd be a nice standalone game. Football lovers, but they never get enough football. And there's usually from November until December, there's usually a streak of days where there's football on every night of the week. I'd be for it.
I don't mind it, man. A Tuesday night, I like the MAC actions. They're obviously competitive games and they're fun to watch. And so I'm all for it. Obviously, logistically, it's a little bit hard, but yes, these college kids, they'll get used to it. And I think when you're in the MAC, that's what you sign up for. That's the selling part, and so I like it. And, if they keep it on, I'm looking forward to, seeing teams go out there to the West Coast and see how the West Coast deals with this Midwest weather come like late October, November.
Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, Sacramento State having to go play at like Buffalo when it's like 10 degrees will be something, and vice versa. Seeing a UMass who comes down has to make the trip completely across the East Coast to West Coast to play a game. I laughed when I saw the MAC photo of like the geographical locations. Everybody's kind of bunched together in that Ohio, Michigan, East Coast area, and then you have Sacramento State, who's on the complete other side of the country. It just kind of is like, what are we doing here? But we're going to go to break. That is hour 2. We'll be back. We're going to talk about the NFL Combine. Emma Johnson and Deshaun Singleton are going to be heading there, and kind of what draft stock for both those guys and what they can improve on there in Indianapolis. And then we will talk about some NFL news. The Miami Dolphins made some interesting moves across the league as the new calendar year approaches for the National Football League. You're listening to Old School. Nick Wyman, Jay Foreman will be right back here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
If you've been around Lincoln for more than a few years, you've heard of Dewey's Computer Service. We've been fixing computers for nearly 30 years. Now, we're Wingman IT, and we take care of all the things that go buzz, beep, or ding for your business. Our team of support engineers take care of everything from computers and servers to business phones, network cabling, firewalls, and most importantly, IT security. We take care of technology so you can focus on running your business. Call us or visit us at wingmanit.com.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has zero hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. Light winds. It'll be warm. The afternoon high near 69. Tonight, mainly cloudy skies and light winds, a low around 47. And tomorrow, we'll see probably sunny skies. It'll be windy and warm, the high near 77. I'm meteorologist Kyle Lucky for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing. And we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That is right. Nick Wyman stepping in for Austin Orman today. Jay Foreman on the other side here on 94.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. As always, Old School is brought to you by Graham Tire Company. Graham Tire Company is celebrating 75 years of service in the Midwest. They're more than just tires. They do all kinds of car and light and truck repairs, too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service that you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. Jay Foreman, Nick Wyman filling in for Austin. Austin down there in Arizona still, chilling down there. Nebraska currently in the top of the 9th with the Stanford Cardinal. 11-6, high-scoring game down there. Nebraska 3-0 for the first time since 2005 as Husker Baseball is trying to return to Lincoln with a 4-0 record, but currently trail 11-6 in a high-scoring affair. With Stanford. Shifting gears to another Husker team, Nebraska football. Emmett Johnson and Deshaun Singleton are getting invites to the NFL Scouting Combine, Jay. That is a huge thing for both those guys. Huge opportunity being invited to said event in Indianapolis where it's held every year. Get the opportunity to go and showcase what you have and what you can do in front of a plethora of scouts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great honor. I mean, they both have, worked hard for it, and both of them, obviously, I think were, pretty good. Obviously, Emmett was excellent this year, and I think Deshaun was really, consistent and played well, all year. Both have great leadership skills, and they're going to be really good representation of the university. And sometimes, like you only get 2 guys to go, and when you have a really good season, you're going to see a lot of Indiana guys and Ohio State, of course. But there's probably a couple combine guys that are worthy that aren't going to get the invite, but they'll still get chances to either get drafted or get picked up in the NFL. And as far as like Emmett goes, I think it's a great opportunity for him to go and, kind of lessen some of the naysayers. I mean, obviously, they're going to worry about his size and his long speed. He can't get any bigger. I mean, obviously he can put some weight on, but he's got to be good weight, as long as he runs well. His tape is excellent, making the ability to make people miss, be a 3-down back, catch out of the backfield, obviously be able to, he's got to improve on his pass blocking, but I think he'll interview well. And so I'll look for Emmett, in a little bit of a weak running back class to really move up the charts. I mean, obviously you got some tough guys, top guys, Jeremiah Love and the Penn State duo. But I think Emmett, with the way the NFL is going, I think he can add some value, to himself. And I think he'll run well. I mean, I think, he's probably off training somewhere. And so, everything's going to be pointing towards, him doing well in the 40 because quickness and the vertical and all that stuff, you could just watch his tape and it's probably not a quicker back in and out of cuts and in and out of holes in the draft. And so, yes, he has to work on that, but the emphasis has to be on the 40. And then when you look at Deshaun, I think it's going to come down to, I think his attributes of being able to play field safety, box safety, can probably play a little bit of nickel linebacker, played some slot, can probably blitz. Biggest thing he's going to have to do is run well, and I'm sure if he runs well and jumps well and, doing the position drills, I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure his agent and them have him, doing all that stuff. And he did pretty decent down at the Senior Bowl from what it looked like. He can make some money himself and get drafted. And so the size of Deshaun, unlike Emmett, is his attribute. Now they both have to run well, which you always assume that, either they're going to run well at the combine or not run at all, and then run at the, their pro day. But if they're able to do it at the combine, live on stage with all those cameras, you saw it, just last year, Ty Robinson in a pretty deep defensive tackle class was the talk of the town. I think he, how they do the metrics of your bench, your vertical, your 40 and all the stuff, and they have some sort of grading system. He was one of the top guys coming out of the combine, along with a really good senior year. He gets drafted to Philly and had a pretty good rookie year, and they're looking for him to do even bigger and better things moving forward. So, they got to really embrace the opportunity and obviously show up well. But I think both of them will go up there and do themselves good justice and put on a good show.
Yep, the combine will begin on February 23rd and run through March 1st. Johnson, obviously, Emmett Johnson had a tremendous season, 251 carries, 1,451 yards, 12 touchdowns, averaging nearly 6 yards per carry. Along with that, I think what helps his draft stock as well is he was a pretty, had some probably, impacted the passing game in Nebraska. Caught 46 passes, 370 yards, 3 touchdowns. In the NFL, if you can catch the ball out of the backfield, you are very valuable to a lot of teams. And you look at guys like a guy like Blake Corum. Blake Corum was the guy at Michigan, really good running back. Was the guy for that Wolverines team. Gets drafted to the Rams in a really good situation. He's still making plays there. Is he a starter? No, but he's a brink starter. Depends on what happens. It's just unfortunate there's a guy named Kyron Williams there as well, but it's a really good tandem. And Emmett Johnson has the ability to be kind of a 1-2 combo back with depends where he lands with what team, but he also could be a starter because he has that big play potential. And with the way running backs are around the league right now, I mean, they're starting to kind of get that mojo back and be able to be like, hey, running backs are valuable to your team and your offense, and they are assets in a way, and they're not interchangeable. Look at Saquon Barkley, look at Christian McCaffrey, look at Bijan Robinson. They're guys who are going to be driving offenses. And Emmett Johnson, I'm not saying he's going to be that guy, but he has the ability to. Nebraska saw that last year out of the backfield, a team that needed something to carry their offense, and he was the guy to do it. And then, like you mentioned, Deshaun Singleton, he had a pretty stellar campaign, 70 tackles, a sack, 4 passes deflected, and 2 interceptions. Honorable mention, all Big Ten. So 2 guys who have a chance to really showcase what they have. Like you said, the speed, the 40-yard dash, usually the big driving point. But it's huge for them to not only be a part of it, because it's a privilege to be invited to this, Jay.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's it's changed now to where it was more bigger schools going to the combine, but now since the pro days are such a big deal, you'll see a lot more smaller school guys, get invited because they're not able to go out and see them on a consistent basis. And so that's why you see like a team like Nebraska only have 2 guys when you think like, you probably would have thought Rocco would have got to invite, Sierra Wright for sure, considering his offseason and his ability to play multiple positions as a cornerback and nickel. Along with his bowl game and senior season campaign, you'd have thought he would have got a look at it. But nevertheless, the combine is a on the job training and a job interview. So you got to take it serious. You got to be, obviously well prepared. It's long days. I know from experience, and both of them going to go out there and do well. And the 40 is huge, especially for somebody like Emmett, because when you're fighting a size thing, you want to make sure that you're running at or faster than anybody that you're at competition with, right? So you want to just check that box off. And you mentioned Kyron Williams. You got to think when he came into the league, he primarily was a kickoff returner, punt returner, and then obviously he got his chance, and then he slowly but surely is now their starting running back, and he's putting up really, really good numbers. And he came into the league as a little bit undersized running back from Notre Dame. And you talk about the 1-2 punch with him and Blake Corum. You have the kind of a do-it-all back, more of a slasher in Kyron, and then you have Blake Corum that's more of the pounder. Emmett can go right into a situation where he could be like a Dalvin Cook, or you could, team up with a Derrick Henry type, or build yourself into a more of a Josh Jacobs and learn how to run behind your pads. And so, the biggest thing for Emmett, he's not only going to have to be able to run the ball, but he's going to have to be, be able to return kicks. And you got to be effective when you return kicks, because you don't want, because pass blocking is going to be his nemesis coming off. The guys are going to try to put him into situations that he's got to block linebackers like myself or defensive ends, and he's got to find a way to get better at that so you're on the field for all 3 downs. But in the meantime, you got to be a dynamic, asset on special teams, and that's not just returns. You got to be able to run down on kickoff, what Emmett has shown the ability to do. He did it his sophomore year, and so, or his redshirt freshman year and redshirt sophomore year, he's been able to cover kicks. And so, you talk about checking all the boxes. Emmett's in a really good position to get drafted a lot higher than people originally projected, but it's all going to be based on that 40 to get everybody's attention. And then when they start asking about special teams, he's done it. When they start asking about, 3rd down, he's done it. Now he's answered the call on the long speed. And now, and also good thing about Emmett, he doesn't fumble the ball. And so that's what you want out of a running back that's going to eventually, hopefully in his case, be a starter and play in the league for quite a long time.
Watching him come, when he gets drafted, it's going to happen. What situation he falls into will be fun to watch in the preseason. Because preseason, it's shortened now. It's not 4 games anymore. It's 3 games. Some starters and guys will only play in 2 games. It'll be fun to see how he kind of grows in that situation, because he won't have a lot of time. They'll have training camp and rookie camp and all that. But preseason, when you get to see him actually on the field in pads playing against other teams, will be interesting to see where he falls and what situation he falls in, because there's a lot of teams that need a running back, need a complimentary running back with their starter, or if they need to put somebody in there, because we've seen guys get drafted 3rd round, second round, 3rd round, 4th round, even later, and they become starters. Just because you're not a 1st round pick doesn't mean you're not going to make it in the league. We've seen guys undrafted make an impact as a running back and everything like that. It's all about money where you get picked, but the level of play, guys have a chip on their shoulder if they fall, a couple picks that they were supposed to be picked and they fall down a couple picks, and they go into the league like, hey, I got to prove himself right. Like a guy like Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis is a guy who had a chip on his shoulder, and look what he did. NFL Super Bowl champion. You have guys like Derrick Henry, who probably should have been higher picked, and look at him now. It'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting situation. But another interesting situation in the NFL, there's some news out of in the South today, and the Miami Dolphins parted ways with Tyreek Hill officially. 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, currently rehabbing a leg injury he suffered during 2025. It is unclear whether he will play during the 2026 season, but Tyreek Hill on the market. To an extent, it did work out in Miami. Miami got back to the playoffs, but a very weird ending to his time with the Dolphins, Jay.
Yeah, well, first of all, it was a weird, marriage, because I think Kansas City matched the Dolphins' offer. Now, obviously, you don't pay state tax, so, and he had a big offer from the Jets originally. So how he got to Miami was a little bit of, out of left field. But, he was very productive down there. He's never been not productive. And, I think he obviously had some frustrations as far as where the team was going. And obviously a lot was put on his shoulders. And then you had, kind of the quarterback carousel and, everything that was going on down there. And he had some off the field issues. Obviously, I think that affected some of the internal view of him as a player. And as you get older, you have to really remedy that and really have none of that so you can extend your career. And so he's at a little bit of a, crossroads of where he's at in his NFL career. He's 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. He can still play. Still one of the fastest guys in the league at his position. He's definitely one of the quickest, and he's definitely one, if not the fastest, going from 0 to, top speed, in and out of his breaks. And so, I think he'll come back and play. I don't know if he'll be healthy right away, and that'll probably be a contract thing that his agent has to work out. But I think also, don't think that he can't go back to Kansas City and be productive. I think Andy Reid is kind of always kept him in check. I think with Eric Bieniemy going back, that's double check. If he respects both of those two, they know how to use him. Patrick Mahomes is familiar with them. They're both going through rehab processes together. So the familiarity of having Tyreek Hill, the matchup problem with Patrick Mahomes, really trying to get this offense kickstarted again. And you won't have to pay premium dollars for him. And it's a comfortable place where he's at. He'll definitely come back. But Miami right now is not. They're fire selling everything. Is whether it's Bradley Chubb, obviously Tyreek Hill, Daniels, the offensive guard, and one more player, and then potential of trying to trade Tua and eating some of that salary. So what'll happen with that is he's guaranteed $54 million. And you know what? He deserves it. Not by the play, but more they put him out there from a physical standpoint that could really mess up his life after football, obviously with the back-to-back and not holding him out from the concussions. So they're looking for a team to trade for him and then split the salary. You know what I'm saying? And so they're not going to – they're on the hook for $54 million. They're trying to get some reprieve from that. And so I wonder who will be able to come to the table for a 1-year trial with Tua, and then they're able to start over and have a stopgap starter, and then obviously a very strong 2027 draft class, and they're essentially tanking, but starting in the offseason, creating a lot of salary cap space for their new head coach coming in 2026 and 27. So the Dolphins are doing a remake here, a full-fledged remake. And in the division, when you look at it, everybody is remaking. Buffalo Bills is hiring a new coach. Aaron Glenn has fired every single coach he had on staff, right? Justin Fields is probably on the move. And then the Miami Dolphins not only fired their coach, but they've obviously dumped a lot of salary cap and trying to create some salary cap space so they can be players in free agency. And so the AFC East, just in a matter of a year, looks drastically different. New England is now at the top of the pedestal. Everybody else is trying to fight their way out of the crabs in the barrel or the barrel, and nobody has a plan to do so as of yet. And obviously it starts with the quarterback position. and what Miami does here in the next couple of weeks. The GM and the head coach have said they're going to let Tua know sooner than later what their decision is. And that means that they're at the combine from the 23rd to the 27th or whatever it is, and probably a couple days before, trying to find somebody that'll bite on it. And maybe somebody will, somebody that won't. They'd probably be better off to have Tua one more year, kind of a prove it deal to improve his market value versus trying to fire sale him off of there and try to get free agents to come in there and you don't even have a quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see what the Dolphins will continue to do, but what they've let you know that what they're going to do right now, they're going to dump big salaries throughout this whole offseason, whether it's the March 11th designation or post June 1 designation. There's going to be a lot of new faces on that team in the next 2 years.
So you look at that. Obviously, Tyreek Hill's the big name of the releases. There was Bradley Chubb, a pass rusher, James Daniels, offensive guard, and then Nick Westbrook and Keeney, who is a wide receiver. He was on the Titans before then. He was a good red zone wide receiver for the Titans teams when Will Levis was there. Were they winning games? No, but he was a good red zone target for the Titans. Those are the 4 cuts. Clears over $56 million in 2026 cap space for Jeff Hafley and GM John Eric Sullivan to begin their remake, I guess, of the Dolphins roster. Very not really out of nowhere. You bring in new faces. They kind of want to do their own thing. The Tua Tagovailoa situation is very interesting because he obviously has that cap space. What quarterbacks are out there? That's the real question. I think they stick with Tua probably, but then again, I don't know though, because there's him. Kyler Murray is also another guy in the market, probably more than likely with the Cardinals. He's another guy. We'll find out what happens with him. Justin Fields is going to be gone from the Jets, but then there's the draft class. Isn't a super strong draft class, but do you just, like you said, are they? I mean, I want to say they're tanking, but I don't want to throw that out there. But I don't really know what the Dolphins are fully doing, because obviously 2027 you'll have maybe Arch Manning, maybe there'll be a lot more quarterbacks because a lot of them went back to college for another year. So I don't really know what you do with the quarterback position. I think you just stick with Tua maybe for another year and maybe ride it out and then make a move. But I don't know. Unless you want to trade him and then maybe run with like a Quinn Ewers, maybe like he kind of did the end of the year. Yeah. I don't really know what the quarterbacks. I don't think you want to put a GM and a new head coach in that situation where you're not putting a quality roster around them, because nobody wants to lose. Everybody wants to win. Your job's on a line, contract incentives, all that stuff.
Yeah, Miami fan base is not going to be wanting to sit around and know that you're not trying to win till next year, considering the amount of money that they're going to be spending for the PSLs and the tickets. One thing they could do is find a trade partner for Tua and maybe try to trade for Malik Willis, just because both coaches, or both the head coach and the GM, came from Green Bay, and so there's familiarity there with him. And Malik Willis has made himself a lot of money, and the potential of Green Bay to franchise him to trade him. Now you got Kyler Murray, but you're thinking about, we already kind of did the small, undersized quarterback, right? So maybe that's not a good fit for Miami versus just keeping Tua. And so, it's a hard decision to make. I'm sure they're having conversations, in the back channels, trying to find a trading partner or find a way to roll with Tua. But also with the 2027 class, coming up, you are in a roundabout way tanking it. And so it's going to be hard to field a team full of veterans knowing that you're not trying to win this year. And also you have to be very, very wary of trying to get to the next year. We've seen it with Brian Callahan in Tennessee. You get one and done. You've seen it plenty of teams. You've seen it with Frank Wright, where you lose so much, they'll pull the plug on you. You won't even be able to execute the plan in over a year. In this case, to get to 2027. And also, let's not forget, rookie quarterbacks will do well, but they only do well if you have pieces around them. And you just got rid of Tyreek Hill, who really, is your main threat on offense. Waddle's good, but nobody rolls their coverage like they do to Tyreek Hill when he was there with the Dolphins. He is now gone. You don't have a really good tight end down there as far as to be your safety net or stretch the middle of the field. So now you have Waddle, who's another small receiver, and you're trying to depend on a 2027 draft class. Yes, they are good prospects coming in. That doesn't mean they will be good for you when your offensive line just got depleted and you just got rid of your mainstay at wide receiver, and you will have a new quarterback who happens to just come out of college. And so Miami should be trying to win right now and draft a quarterback for the future, because then when you have the wins, it makes it a little bit easier to sell to the fans. But they're in a pickle. They're doing what they're supposed to do, create cap space. But the most important position or decision, Nick, in the NFL is what you do with the quarterback. And until that's done, until there is consistent productivity, Miami will continue to kind of swim upstream without any life preserver and run out of gas.
So I have a list of quarterbacks in the free agent market. I'm going to throw a couple names at you. Let's say they do trade Tua to insert team here. Here are some names they could, because the quarterback class is, before the year even, people are hyping up the 2026 quarterback class. They were throwing Sam Levitt, Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, etc. And now it just looks like it's going to be Fernando Mendoza and maybe Ty Simpson in the first round. Maybe those guys are off the board. Maybe the Dolphins don't swing on a Ty Simpson. Here's some names that I could throw out here. I don't know how likely it would be for the Dolphins to bring in a guy. There's Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Malik Willis, Joe Flacco, Tyrod Taylor. Those are just some names that started at least a couple of games last year. I think Malik Willis would be the guy you maybe swing at. But then again, he's going to want a payday because he played really well during the time when Jordan Love was down. Do the Dolphins want to do that again and maybe he fizzles out and then draft a rookie that coming year? I don't know if the Dolphins want to go down that route and the GM and the coach get put in that situation where they have a quarterback who is just a 1-year rental and then he's still on the roster and then you have bring in a rookie and whatnot. I don't know. That's just hindsight 2020, but I don't know. Maybe you bring in a veteran like Russell Wilson and give it a try again there. The Giants, gave it a month with him and then Jameis Winston, then Jackson Dart got in there. I don't know. Tyrod Taylor's kind of been around the league a lot. He's been in the AFC East for a bit. I don't know. It's a very interesting thing. But like you said, you need a quarterback, and those are a couple of names who have started games, but I'm not too sure where you go from there, because if you want Tua out, they're going to put Tua out, and then they're going to have to bring in some veteran or somebody to weather the storm for a year before they can find a quarterback, Jay.
Yeah, none of those names are appealing. They're all really good or decent quarterbacks, but I don't think anybody that you'd want to keep in there with Tua. If you're going to just have a 1-year like stopgap, you might as well just keep Tua and just eat the contract, or you trade Tua and then, bring a low cost and veteran in there. But again, there's no guarantee you will get the quarterback that you need or want in 2027. So you better move accordingly as you are doing right now. And so they're doing a good job of creating this cap space, but they haven't done a good job of addressing Tua. That'd probably be the first move that I would have taken care of. That's the first thing I'm asking you in your interview process. And that's the first thing I think as an owner, I want to see you execute, is make a decision on Tua, because everything else was pretty much rinse and repeat, right? When Bradley Chubb redid his contract last year, he knew this was a year that he was going to get released. Tyreek Hill, with all the offseason stuff or off the field stuff and being injured, he knew he was gone. So those are easy decisions to make because they made them for themselves. Now you have a big decision, and then you have a bigger decision because now you're negotiating at the combine. You've lost all leverage. You get what I'm saying? Because everybody knows that you're coming with something to sell, and your product that you're wanting to sell, nobody really wants. And so now I can negotiate you down. And now you're thinking like, we put all this money and time into Tua and obviously the physical issues that we expose him to, and he potentially could go somewhere for pennies on the dollar. So you don't want to lose out on it by trying to be too greedy, or you could be really conservative, run it back with him, give him a chance to prove himself, and then obviously he'll be able to move on in a better situation next year with the productivity in a new coach, with a new coach and a new scheme.
The NFL news never sleeps. There is an off season, but there's always news in the National Football League. There always is. We're going to go to break. We'll be back. We'll talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend and kind of what our overall thoughts were for it. First time on NBC, and another new format, and a dunk contest that was a dunk contest. We'll be right back here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and right now at Koppel, we are offering big discounts on all of our inventory. 2026 GMC Terrains are leasing at $279 per month or buy for $27,690. 2026 Canyons leasing for $269 or buy for $40,980. Also right now, all new Equinox EVs and all half-ton trucks are starting at $12,000 off MSRP. These are just a few examples of some of the aggressive pricing going on right now at Koppel. Please stop on in or check us out at koppelcars.com. All these with $2,500 down with approved credit.
You started your business to build something special. Now it's time to grow and protect it. At Pinnacle Bank, our treasury management services help you do just that. Through smarter payment technology, account administration, and fraud protection. So no matter the size of your business, you can get the most out of your financial operations. Request your free consultation at pinbank.com/consult. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Husker Nation, your perfect softball plan is here. With the flexible Husker Softball on Deck deal, you choose the action. For just $38, pick any 4 games plus 1 from the can't-miss Iowa series. Build your own schedule, catch your favorite matchups, and cheer on the Huskers your way all season long. But don't wait, these mini plans won't last. Visit huskers.com/tickets and make your own mini plan today. Go Big Red.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Geode Health is now open in Lincoln, bringing high-quality mental health care to the community. Located downtown near Lincoln Central Business District, this is Geode's first location in Nebraska and part of a growing national footprint. Now welcoming patients to work with Dr. Eric Curry, board-certified outpatient psychiatrist specializing in adult mental health care, including treatment for ADHD, anxiety, depression, mood disorders, medication management, and more. Geode is also growing in its Lincoln Care Team, with opportunities for therapists interested in collaborative, patient-centered care. Appointments available now. Visit geodehealth.com. That's GEODE health.com.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
And we're back. Old School at 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Nick Wyman filling in for Ross Norman as he is in Scottsdale, Arizona. Jay Foreman on the other side. Stanford beats Nebraska 11-6 down to close out the weekend or the week in Arizona. Nebraska falls to 3-1 on the season, but a 3-1 start to start the college baseball season. Nebraska will take it. They've had some times where they've had a sluggish start to the season, but 11-6 win, 11-6 loss, to the Stanford Cardinal. Another good baseball team. But Jay, there was a event this weekend in Los Angeles. The NBA All-Star Weekend was here, kind of the halfway point of the NBA season. Mixed feelings about it all, I would say. From my point of view, a lot of people online. New format. The Team USA Stars won the All-Star game. Kind of confusing, I would say, from just in general, because they switch it up every year. It feels like Anthony Edwards wins MVP of the All-Star game. Jay, how much of this did you sit down and watch and see? I mean, I kind of casually watched it and kind of followed from a social media standpoint, but it wasn't like, must-see TV.
I'll give the NBA credit. I thought it was better. Everybody was worried about, how it's, egregiously not competitive and it's like a clown show. So I think that was remedied. So I think that, you got to give the NBA kudos from that. And I like the different format. I like this format better than the 4-point shots. And, you reset the scoreboard. I never figured out the last couple years, whatever. So I like this format. I think if they tweak this and you got some, the older players with Kawhi and those guys still, getting busy, showing the young guys that they can still do it. And you got the rising stars like Anthony Edwards and you got the world players. So I like it. I think you can, get some continuity and some competitiveness, to maybe string it along some good, all-star games. I think with the way social media is, people forget that the NBA back, obviously when I used to watch the All-Star game, in theory was more competitive, but the game was so much different. You know what I mean? And so they kind of like Cadillaced it until they got into that last fourth quarter, and just like the NFL Pro Bowl got serious because there was money on the line. Now these guys make so much money, it's no big deal. So I think you got to try to find a different option for it. So I do think it was a positive as far as the game. Now the 3-point contest, I liked it. Dame Dillard, 3-time champ. The dunk contest is still a work in progress. Now Jordan and Dominique, we got spoiled because we had, Vince Carter after that, and some of those guys, and Gordon and all those guys that really took it serious. Now you got a bunch of young guys that they just want to either not go to the NBA All-Star Weekend or they just want to enjoy the festivities. And then the star players aren't going to do it because they're a little bit long in the tooth. And the guys that they want to see in the dunk contest, like LeBron and all of them, are, way past their, prime as far as dunking in the dunk contest. So I think overall the NBA All-Star Weekend this year was a positive. And it was a step in the right direction. And I think the players were purposeful and went out there and put on a good product. And so you got to, be thankful for that they didn't revert or revolt and say, you know what, I'm not going to try hard. So I think they're moving in the right direction. I think, with the All-Star games now, and it doesn't mean it. And let's be honest, like this type of being an All-Star, it's twofold, right? It's actually a problem that's created by, I guess, social media, but then also with this generation. You see guys make the Pro Bowl or the NBA All-Star games that would never have made it before because it's a popular vote. So then on the same token, that this type of stuff doesn't mean anything to players. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these NBA players aren't playing to leave a legacy. They're just playing to get paid. They like playing basketball. They aren't driven for to be the best that they can be. You get what I'm saying? And so you get some of that in the All-Star game. Yeah, they make an All-Star. They just go out there and just kind of act like they're playing with their friends at the Y in a pickup game in the summer league. Whereas some guys have always taken it serious and trying to, better the game and the product. And then you have guys like, Stephen A. that want to see people to respect the game. And I think some of the older players have, let some of the younger players know, look, you can go out and have your fun, but don't disrespect the game. So overall, once again, I think it was a step in the right direction. And I think this format, for the next few years, I think it'll be the best format because you'll get some guys that'll enjoy playing with each other and try to have some bragging rights. And obviously, Anthony Edwards being an American player winning the MVP is probably really good for the NBA right now because the Europeans are taking over. So when the Anthony Edwards, in a little bit of a smaller market, obviously they're in Minnesota, could be live on stage, I think it could really help out the NBA, long term as well as short term.
Yeah, you look at the games, the way the format, they played 4 12-minute games between the 3 teams. There was USA Stripes, USA Stars, and the World team. First game, Stars beat World 37-35 in overtime. Stripes beat Stars 42-40. Stripes then beat World 48-45, which eliminated Team World in a round robin. And the championship, Stars beat the Stripes in the only non-competitive game, 47-21. I like that format because it resets. You have 3 different teams, kind of like you said, pickup game at the Y, and you have stars. I liked it that guys like Victor Wembanyama and guys like that were actually playing defense and trying and blocking shots and contesting baskets. Because in past years, when you're playing a 4-quarter game, 3 of the quarters are just guys just driving down the lane, no contested shots, and just throwing out a dunk or something, or throwing an alley-oop. This, you reset the score. Your pride's on the line. Like the world guys want to beat the USA guys. USA guys want to prove that, there's a lot of talk about Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama, SGA's from Canada. You have the world guys who are kind of at the top. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Those are your guys who are labeled as the face of the NBA. The USA guys see that. Luka Doncic. Those are all European/world players. So you have the USA guys. Anthony Edwards steps in, not on my watch, wins All-Star Game MVP. So I do like the format too. It's a little different, I think this different teams splitting it up like that helps. 3-point contest is cool. Damian Lillard hasn't played a game yet this year and still a 3-time champ now in the 3-point contest. Can still do it. Still Dame time. The dunk contest, I don't know. I think is every dunk been done, Jay? I mean, there's only so much you can do now that gets the crowd going. I think a lot of it has to do with like showmanship. A lot of it has to be, you have to get the crowd involved. You got to get the props. People love the props. Like when Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine's, Aaron Gordon had the mascot, the Magic on a hoverboard or whatever it was, and it got the crowd going, and the prop, people love the props. Blake Griffin's car dunk, when he jumped over the hood of the car, not the car, the hood of the car, we got the props going. And I don't know, dancing after you throw in a dunk, I guess that gets you some brownie points, I guess, from Shad Johnson's case of the Miami Heat. I'm a Heat fan, but it's like, all right, won the dunk contest. All right, cool. But I don't know. Do you do away with that and maybe do like a 1v1 tournament instead? Because Unrivaled, the off-season WNBA league, the women's basketball league, they did a 1v1 tournament. And it was pretty electric. I watched a little bit of it on social media. It looks pretty intense. They're playing for money. And you'd like to see some of those guys kind of go one-on-one. I don't know how that would look. I mean, there'd be a lot of, these players talk trash all the time, little competitive rivalries between a couple of these guys. I'd like to maybe see something like that.
Yeah, you could. Throw that in there. I think the dunk contest is going to be a staple. I think you need to get some better in-game dunkers doing it. Yeah. Obviously, you got to think people were on like pins and needles to wait to see what Vince Carter was going to do because he posterized everybody. It seems like every single night. Same with Jordan and obviously Dominique. So I think you get some of those young guys that are going to be the in-game dunkers. I think you could bring some spice there, and whether it's the props or just really refining what your signature dunk is, right? What Dominique's are, right? Dominique Wilkins, tomahawk dunk, Jordan, free throw line, Vince Carter, essentially the hang time and then the elbow through the hoop. We need some guys that have signature dunks that can bring that spice to it. But I also like, maybe having some guys going out there, doing one-on-one, but obviously, guys are probably trying to rest, right? And so I think you can do some of that. Maybe you can incorporate some of your street ballers or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. But I think overall they're moving in the right direction. I think the effort and intent was there. And so I think that remedied everything. And I think everything, the dunk contest is just kind of go in ebbs and flows, right? And, what's really crazy is the dunk contest is a byproduct of today's game. It's a 3-point game, drive and layup, right? Drive and kick. It's dribble, drive. That's what the game is. Yes, you see some dunks, but they're more open, run out dunks, right? You don't have guys on a regular basis, besides like Anthony Edwards, and obviously there's some other ones that they're young rookie up at the 76ers, and you get somebody, that'll do some stuff like in game, right? That is in between that 6'4" to 6'8". Wembanyama is different, right? In game dunkers, not that many, right? And so that's where it's a byproduct of the game. So how does that affect the dunk contest? You don't have a lot of great in game dunkers as they had back in the obviously 70s, 80s, 90s, and then obviously early 2000s, and maybe some in 2010s, because the game has changed. Because some of the look at SGA, right?
Yeah.
His dunks are just run outs, and he just kind of lays it in. Obviously Steph Curry never dunks. All those type of the top players don't really dunk on you. And so that really makes it lose some luster, but it's a byproduct of the way the game is played right now. And that's not going to change. And so you just need a couple guys that are willing to be, rim rockers, and then they'll be out there on the dunk contest.
Yep. And I think the NBA, it's in the right direction, as you said. But thanks for filling in, Jay, for this last little over an hour. Technical difficulties besides, we have a good staff. We good depth. Bach filled in for a bit. Tristan filled in. We'll be filling in tomorrow as well. Me and Bach will be here again. So old school with a little bit of a flavor to it, I guess, as we can say, I guess, for the last couple of days. So we got some depth over here at the ticket. That's for sure, right, Jay?
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. So it's all good. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, man.
Yeah, so we're getting out of here. I'll fill out the final segment, and then we'll send you in Tom Chattel, and then Ticket Weeknights here on this Monday night. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just got the brakes fixed on my car today.
You did? You haven't even left the office.
I didn't need to. I got a guy who picks up my car and drops it off when it's done.
Well, who's your guy?
Graham Tire. They have pickup and delivery service at all 5 of their Lincoln locations.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Good morning, Breakers. This is Scott Miller from Midwest Bank. When I recently joined Midwest Bank, I was immediately impressed by our exceptional service. My first customer made the switch from a large corporate bank and didn't have to wait in line or call a 1-800 number. We treated him like family. He now visits the bank just to say hello. While other banks go corporate, we stay Nebraska. Visit us at midwest.bank or drop by a branch today. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
If you're tired of the dieting circuit paradox but still want to look, feel, and perform better, you need to get to Nutrition Authority and ask about our nutrition coaching featuring LifeBase. LifeBase takes a complex world of nutrition and makes it simple with real results that last. Stop in to learn more or check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
It's seafood season at Amigos. Time to get that one-of-a-kind, crisp crab rangoon burrito and dip it in some sweet chili sauce. There's a crab rangoon Frenchie, too. Enjoy grilled fish, grilled shrimp, or crispy fish tacos, wrapped in warm whole wheat tortillas, topped with pico de gallo, cabbage, and Amigos Chipotle mayo sauce. From jumbo shrimp baskets or fish and chips to fish tacos, there's something for everyone. You'll love the bold, fresh flavors of seafood at Amigos. Amigos is serving up a brand new way to score the bold, fresh flavors you love with 8 affordable value meals. At $5 and $6, these meals are easy on the wallet, so treat yourself anytime. Sink into the new 3-cheese melt or taco melt, both stacked with crave-worthy flavor in every bite. There's crunchy taquito dippers, too, perfect for dunking in Amigos' famous ranch or spicy cheese. Big flavor, small price. Value meals at Amigos.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. Husker Nation, your perfect softball plan is here. With the flexible Husker Softball on Deck deal, you choose the action. For just $38, pick any 4 games plus 1 from the can't-miss Iowa series. Build your own schedule, catch your favorite matchups, and cheer on the Huskers your way all season long. But don't wait, these mini plans won't last. Visit huskers.com/tickets and make your own mini plan today. Go Big Red.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street, online at doubleeagle.golf.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Old School. Nick Wyman with you. There's final segment on this lovely Monday, February 16th, 2026. Jay Foreman bounced after that last segment. Thank you to everybody who's filled in during this. Austin, obviously, coming back from Scottsdale tonight. Stanford beating Nebraska there in Arizona to close out the MLB Desert Invitational. Nebraska finishes 3-1 overall with wins over Grand Canyon, Northeastern, and obviously UConn on opening day this past Friday for Nebraska Baseball. Nebraska Softball 6-4 overall after they have played a plethora of ranked teams and some really good teams, beating Texas Tech and Texas over the course of the last 2 weeks. Before we get out of here, before Old School, we send it over to Tom Chattel at the top of the hour. Kansas State fires Jerome Tang. He's going to fight for cause firing because they fired him with cause. Obviously, the big news in college basketball, Kansas State currently last place and only have 1 win in the Big 12 Conference. Nebraska has a win over K-State earlier in the year, and K-State at the time, a very different Kansas State team to what they are as of February 16th. Nebraska duked it out with them, picked up a win down in Kansas City, but a very weird situation going out in Manhattan. So they're looking for a national search to replace him. Before taking over K-State, Tang was assistant coach under Scott Drew at Baylor for over 2 decades. And then he takes Marquise Noel and that team to the Elite Eight a couple of years ago. And just like that, Jerome Tang tenure with the Wildcats at Kansas State is done. Very weird. In 2023, he signed a contract extension through 2029, 2030. And there's still $18.6 million remaining on that deal. And Tang plans to fight for cause firing as he retained Tom Mars and Bennett Spire in the case. So a very interesting dilemma with the Wildcats' basketball program in Manhattan with Kansas State. Obviously not the season they wanted. Kind of a disaster down the stretch, and they've gotten blown out in a couple of games here most recently. So he is out at Kansas State. Kansas State will be looking for a new coach. Saw some names pop up, but it's too early. Season's still going on. March Madness still has to go on, but Kansas State will be looking for a new coach for their basketball program. Well, that is all for Old School today, but stick with us here on the ticket. We have a very stacked evening coming up. I will be with you. Tom Chattel will be up next from 6 to 7. 7 to 8, we'll have All In with Caleb Smith and Ridge Lovett. 8 to 9, Beyond the Lanes with Desiree and Haley. They are back after a week off, and they will be heading to the Big Red Invite for wrestling. Or not wrestling, excuse me, bowling. I am all out of sorts. I was thinking about Caleb Smith and Ridge Lovett wrestling, Nebraska wrestling, picking up 2 wins over the past weekend. They're heading to the Big Red Invite for bowling at Hollywood Bowl on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's free to go. If you have nothing going on and you need plans, going out to Hollywood Bowl this next weekend. Along with that, 8 to 9, we'll have Raph's Good Take on Sports. 10 to 11, Don't Pun Hour, Des Moines Pierce-Nell. And then Late Night Lincoln with myself from 11 to midnight. So stick with us here on the ticket on this Monday. A lot going on. A lot going on in the sports world, especially in Huskerland. Basketball tomorrow night. Basketball postgame will be around 10 o'clock after they play the Iowa Hawkeyes for the first time in their 2 meetings they will have this season. But that is all. Nick Wyman, thank you to Jake Bakovic and Tristan Gomez. And as always, Jay Fordman for stepping in. A lot of depth here at the ticket. But that is all. We'll see you guys tomorrow. If you stick with us, Tom Chattel coming up here in a matter of moments.